outstanding kickers in the history of college football. Jason Hanson getting ready to kick it off. Twin men back now for the Huskies. Napoleon Cottman, the freshman sensation, and Jay Barry. And this is the 84th Apple Cup. He gets into it very well. It'll be Barry, the junior out of Colorado, bringing it up across at 15 and hit hard at the 18-yard line. Billy Joe Hobart, the sophomore, the starting quarterback. He threw 4 touchdown passes last week. He's 1 touchdown off the school record, held by Chris Chandler. The rest of the offense looks like this. Bino Bryant having a sensational year. Aaron Pierce, very solid at tight end. And Mario Bailey, well, we'll document what he's done. That line is huge. The 2 tackles between them, 629 pounds. From the 18-yard line, may have had an offside, a flag on the play, give to Bino Bryant, and he goes for a couple of yards. Swarmed under by Ray Hall, a sophomore out of Seattle. Offside against Washington State. Defensively, Washington State has struggled this year. They've had a tough time stopping the rush. Up front, Chris Frank is a junior college transfer who's played remarkably well, not going through spring ball. McClanahan leads the Pac-10 in tackles. And in the secondary, Pryor, outstanding return guy. Watch John rushing. He will hit you. The penalty now makes it 1st and 5 for the Huskies from their own 24-yard line. 2 receivers top of the field. Handoff again to Bino Bryant, and nothing. Washington State reacting well. Now remember, Washington State has been giving up around 233 yards rushing a game as McClanahan and Bush combine on the stop.
Well, that time Bush did a real good job, Gary. He was being blocked, actually played off the block, and it looked like the runner didn't have his head up, wasn't looking where he was going, because there was room to make a cut and pick up some sizable yardage. 2nd down, still 5 yards to go. No gain on the last play. Matt Jones, the fullback, along with Bino Bryant in the backfield, and that pass overthrown, intended for Bailey on the far side. So after having a 1st and 5, they now go to 3rd down and a long 5, almost 6 yards to go. Mike Price in his 3rd year as head coach of the Cougars. He has not beaten the Huskies thus far. Had a winning year his first season, 6 and 5, and last year they finished at 3 and 8. Every team, I think, Gary, has tried to force this Husky football team into throwing the ball quickly, putting pressure on them.
Back to throws Hobart. Quick hitch near side, complete. That'll be enough for the 1st down. And Mario Bailey with his 56th catch of the year, an 8-yard gain. And Torrey Hunter, who has 3 interceptions this year, defending on the play. Bailey's just a little guy, but oh, is he quick.
He's very quick. He runs great routes, elusive guy, and he's had some big stats this year.
He has 15 touchdown passes. That's a Pac-10 record. He needs 73 yards today to become the all-time leading receiver in a single season for Washington yardage-wise. Hand off to Bryant again. He is hit initially by that defensive line. Kirk Westerfield is there, and he gets across the 30 to the 31. Westerfield is a senior out of Benton City, Washington. He plays hard all the time. Limited in some ways, but always playing hard for this Cougar team.
Now, throughout this game, you'll see that defensive front 4 of Washington State trying to engage the offensive line, holding them up, letting the linebackers coming in to make plays. When you see the Washington line getting to the state linebackers, they're in trouble.
2nd down and 10. Hobart near side, complete to Orlando McKay, breaks the tackle, and he's got the 1st down. Good job by McKay to pick up that 15-yard gain. The tackle eventually made
a very
by
late
Lewis Bush.
Gary, a very late flag just thrown on the field.
A lot of emotion in this series. These 2 teams don't like each other very well. Washington very upset that Mike Price voted for Miami as #1 in the latest poll this week. Personal foul against the Huskies.
We'll take a look at the 1st down. The pass is throwing it out. There's a catch and a missed tackle here. And Washington State can ill afford those kinds of plays. Pryor, number 28, is a man who missed the opportunity for the tackle. They have to be really on top of their ball game. Let Washington make the mistakes, not come up with the big plays, be very opportunistic, and swarm. It's a real light in the seat football team we have for Washington State. Not real big, but they've got some speed, so they have to utilize it all.
So instead of the first down all the way across the 40, it's going to be 1st and 25. Gordon Reese is the official for today's game, as they're going to mark the ball now just about on top of the 30-yard line. So Hobart will bring the Huskies up across the 30. Just underway in this one. 13:08 to go in the first quarter. Hobart, play action fake. Got a lot of time. Going deep to McKay. He's behind him. McKay's got it at the 25. He's going to go all the way. Orlando McKay, touchdown, 69 yards.
Well, Gary, so much for my theory about Washington trying to pound it out on the ground. They go to the air a couple of times. Right here, great play action, holds the linebackers. And then number 4, Orlando McKay, gets behind number 10, John Rushing, beats him, and it's a sprint to the end zone.
Remember, that was a 1st and 25, and they go 69 yards in the airways, and that is blocked. And being run out by McClanahan, who comes up with it. And so the point after is not successful. Orlando McKay with his 6th touchdown catch of the year. And the Huskies jump on top early, 6-0. 69-yard touchdown strike. We're going to show the block point after.
Right here, that's Travis Hansen going up. And there's a block by number 94, Kirk Westerfield.
And then McClanahan tried to run it up the field. You can see there he is. If he could take it, he would go for a 2-pointer. Instead, it ends up 6-0. That catch by McKay is his longest of his career. Not the longest of the year for Hobart, though. He threw a 71-yarder earlier. Kicking off, Jason Crabb. Back deep is Pryor. This guy's very dangerous. He returned 100 yards against USC this year. He comes out across the 20 and skips out at the 24. And so coming in to run the team at quarterback will be Drew Bledsoe. His team leading the Pac-10 in passing offense. He's had a string where he was throwing the ball so well. It's 62% completion, a string of about 6 games. Wright Fair, outstanding running back. Bobo coming into the game has 45 catches. He's his #1 target. They have one senior in the offense, and it's Bob Garman, the tackle, number 74. Very young offensive line. They're going to start this drive now from the 23. Hand off to Shambe Wright Fair, who's been playing with a bad ankle, is healthy now, and he gets across to maybe the 27-yard line. And let's look defensively at the #1 ranked defense in the country. Entman, we've talked about him. He fills up the full screen. Rogers, the University of Oklahoma transfer. Linebackers, they run. They are in a frenzy, a feeding frenzy, so to speak, when they come after you. And that secondary can cover very, very well. 2nd and 6 now for the Cougars. Down 6-0. Bledsoe at 6'5", comes out throwing, wide open, and dropped. That's one of those they're going to have to catch. Bobo, who's so sure-handed, may have mistimed his jump a little bit on that one, Lynn. I don't know, but that was very catchable.
Well, he certainly should have held on to it. Whether he mistimed it or not, he got up in the air high enough and long enough to have the ball come to him in his hands. They've got to make those kinds of plays. You know, Washington State has a history, a reputation for always coming into this game with something new to surprise the Huskies. And the coach said on offense, there'll be a lot of motion trying to disguise what they're about to do.
They have a trips formation, top of the field. Bledsoe in trouble. Jaime Fields has got him. Down he goes. That's the 42nd sack of the year for this Husky team. He just can't take that much time. I'm surprised he had as much time as he did, as he lost 5 on the play.
Well, you know, he had a lot of time, and that's great. With that short drop, the pocket formed very nicely around him. And he's looking for his receiver. His mistake here is just in the way he wheels and comes out of the pocket. Why he wheels like this, I don't know. He should have just turned square up to the field and took off. Instead, he comes right into Fields' arm.
And Fields with his 5th sack of the year. The punt now by Jason Hanson. Not exceptionally good, but it gets a Cougar bounce. Bino Bryant will bring it out to the 44. There's a late flag there. 39-yard punt, 6-yard return. The Huskies lead it 6-0. The number 2 ranked Washington Huskies are unbeaten at 10-0 for the first time in the school's history. If you go back to last year, they've won 12 in a row, and they're returning to Pasadena and the Rose Bowl for the 2nd straight year under this guy Don James, the 5th trip for the Dean of Pac-10 coaches. While we're away, they assessed a clipping penalty against the Washington Huskies, so they will not inherit the ball out across the 40-yard line as Billy Joe Hobart has them huddled inside the 25. I tell you, this Washington team, you look statistically at them, Lynn, and there's nothing they haven't done well this year.
Yeah, everyone's trying to find a weakness in this team, and they can't. They think it's their secondary, but their secondary makes the big plays also.
Hobart giving off to Bino Bryant, cuts back, and pretty good swarming defense. Thus far, Washington State playing the run pretty well. The one thing they are concerned about, and Mike Price talked about this along with defensive coordinator Mike Zimmer, is that cutback ability. Boy, they really do a good job. Washington will start weighing those one way, and those backs will come back the other way.
Well, what they start out with is a great offensive line that holds people up. They stay home and block the people on the backside. So when backs like Bino Bryant decide to make a cut in that direction, they've got a little help.
And that line is huge. Malamala and Kennedy between them, 629 pounds. Here's Bryant again. Coming across the 35 out to the 39 and tackle there. McClanahan and Bush, the 2 linebackers, there to make the stop. Bryant's not very big, but when I ask about him, Don James said speed, speed, speed.
Well, he's kind of a miniature version of Eric Dickerson, wears the same number, runs upright, runs like a sprinter, and he was. But he's kind of light. He's about 178 pounds. Notice when they played USC, some of the guys were just grabbing him and throwing them back.
Doesn't matter how big you are if you can't catch him.
That's right.
3rd down and 2 now. Jay Barry's coming to the ball game. He's got the ball, and Washington State stops him, and they will have to punt the football away. Good reaction that time by Bush, also Torrey Hunter, and give Tillman, number 83, an assist on the play. And so on 3rd and 2, the Cougars hold.
Gary, that's a great example of the Cougars using their speed, running laterally along the line of scrimmage, pursuing the play, and then getting 3, 4, 5 people over to make the stop. If they can keep that up through the whole game and take away the big plays like we had earlier to Parker, or to Orlando McKay, they've got a shot.
Here's Bobo back to receive the punt. John Wardell, a junior out of Bakersfield, will have to field this one off the carpet in a line drive. This will be returnable. Bobo comes up to the 25, and a flag thrown as he's knocked backwards. 2 flags on the play in the vicinity of the 25-yard line. Darius Turner, the backup fullback, down there covering on the punt. Looked like that might be returned for a long return because the ball was kicked on a line drive, but it ends up being a 41-yard punt, a 5-yard return, and here's a penalty clipping against Washington State. The Cook County Cougar Club at the Westin Hotel last night had a pep rally and getting ready for this Apple Cup game. But of a more serious note, they also signed a get well card to Mike Utley, the offensive lineman for the Detroit Lions, who sustained a paralyzing injury last week. He of course played for Washington State. It's 20 feet by 3 feet wide. Very fine gesture, and we wish the very best to Mike Utley. So the penalty now moves it back to the 10-yard line. That's where they'll start this drive. Jambe Wright Fair, the single running back. 6-0 Washington. Here comes Wright Fair, and he'll get a couple of yards. Good reaction by Brett Collins. They call this defense the Purple Haze. Somebody said they ought to call it the Purple Pain, as they just swarm you, don't they?
Or the Purple People Eaters, or just the big mean machine, whatever you want to call it.
Well, their stats are absolutely incredible, what they have done this year. Do you realize Indiana led that game 24-7? They've got to win that game to end up in the Copper Bowl. Handoff now to Wright Fair, and he wedges us out to the 15-yard line. It'll be 3rd down and still 6. 8:44 to go. The game thus far, The difference being a 69-yard touchdown catch by Orlando McKay. Andy Mason made the stop on the last play. Drew Bledsoe is tough as nails. That's what Mike Price said, and I believe it. He's been sacked 49 times this year. 3rd and 6 now for the Cougars. And we have an offside against Washington. A free play. The ball is broken up, incomplete. Looked like Donald Jones, the all Pac-10 linebacker, came offside before the snap of the ball. There he is, number 48.
A free play as usual for the offense in that situation.
It wouldn't be enough for the first down, though. They had a 3rd and 6, so they'll still have a yard to go for the first down.
And 3rd and 1 is no gift when you're playing against a Husky defense.
Especially with Steve Entman in that defensive line. Boy, we've got a lot coming up on Thanksgiving week. All starts when the 7th-ranked Nittany Lions of Penn State take on Pitt. Then on Friday, a real classic, Oklahoma meeting Nebraska, followed on Saturday, interstate showdown, Florida State against Florida. Be sure to be with us on Turkey Day as well as the entire week. And on a 3rd and 1, it wasn't easy. Shambi Wright Fair carrying the football across the 20 to the 21, and they're unpiling.
They're going to have to measure, Gary. I can't see him easily giving it to him.
And you said it wouldn't be easy, and it was not. Tell you that Washington defense this year has shut down everyone. They've allowed 2.3 per carry, allowing a little over 64 yards a game rushing. So here comes the measurement. And the indication is they're short. And Mike Price has a 4th down. 4th down with 8:01 to go in this first quarter. And you know something? They look like they're going for it.
Well, he's gone for it about 19 times or so this year.
They've been successful on 4th down. Very successful this year. And boy, do they need it here. Down 6-0, playing on the road against the number 2 ranked team in the country, coming in here like 34-point underdogs, and now on a 4th and inches. Bledsoe will sneak it, and he's got it. Well, when you got such an uphill climb, you've got to make some things happen. You've got to create something, and there's a case. They just decided this was a time to take a stand.
And usually you won't have a game where a coach decides to take that kind of stand on his own 20-yard line, Gary, or just outside his own 20-yard line. But Mike Price is a man who is willing to play this game on the edge. And every time we talk to a coach, we ask him when they do something different, you know, they always say we're going to try it for a little while. He told us he's going to stay with it for the whole ball game.
So Bledsoe on the sneak gets it out to the 22-yard line. Bledsoe giving off this time, and straight ahead comes Wright Fair out of Seaside, California. He's had 5 100-yard games. He's been slowed with an ankle. He hurt against UCLA, but is coming on strong now as Tyrone Rogers made the stop. A gain of 2. It'll be 2nd and 8.
Take a look right there. They're double teaming Entman all the time. He's fighting, yet other people coming free.
What was it Don James said about him? He has all the tools, and he plays every down like it's his last down. He can make the power move, the speed move, the swim move, you name it. 2nd and 8. Albert Kennedy goes in motion. Here is Wright Fair. Nice cut. He's out to the 40 and out to the 41-yard line. First down. Walter Bailey made the stop. That's an 18-yard run. And they talk about Wright Fair as being one of those guys who's gliding, darting, and can hurt you in the open field. This is a fine run.
Well, he's very good here. Entman gets double teamed again, and he slices inside where he left that position. He was double teamed, fought through, and a nice little weaving move down the field.
Coming into this game, averaging 4.5 points was Shambe. Line of scrimmage to the 41. That's Clarence Williams in motion. Back to throw Bledsoe, double pumping, and that one thrown a lot on it and could not make the connection to Darren Pointer, the intended receiver on the near side. Bledsoe at 6'5", really can survey things well. And in watching tapes of him, Len, he's a lot more mobile than I thought he would be. He can run around a little bit.
He can run around a little bit. He doesn't like to, which is good since he's playing quarterback. He'll stay in the pocket longer, look downfield. But he's not a real strong or muscular 6'3".
Second down 10 now. Almost moving offside was Tyrone Rogers. Albert Kennedy goes in motion. Bledsoe will give off to right there. And check that. That is Derek Sparks, the fullback, and he takes it to the 45. A gain of 3. Let's go to New York. Here's Roger Twilight.
Well, Gary, thank you. In that battle for the Old Oaken bucket, you mentioned that the Indiana Hoosiers had the lead. This was a 40-yard field goal by Joe O'Leary. The Hoosiers led 24-22. That would have given Purdue the lead, but not to be. And with over 6 minutes to go, Indiana still leads by 2. Let's go back to Gary.
All right, Roger, they take that Old Oaken bucket to Tucson with them if they'd win that game. Here is Bledsoe handing off this time to Darren Sparks, a true freshman. He was the gem of the recruiting class. He's got a first down, a 12-yard run, and right now Washington State's doing something you might not expect. They're running the ball right at the Huskies.
Well, they're taking advantage of an aggressive defense that's trying to put pressure on the passer. As we take a look from the end zone, watch how the Huskies rush upfield, and they take advantage of it by coming back at them with the draw. You're going to see a lot of draws, a lot of screens to take advantage of that aggression.
David Fraley was one of those, or Chico Fraley was one of those on the stop. Back to throw Bledsoe, flag on the play. Throwing a long ways to the far side, intended for Pointer, but that ball, he just had to get rid of it. A lot of heat coming. Steve Entman, who last year was a co-defensive player of the year in the Pac-10, but let's see what the penalty flag is all about. Illegal motion against Washington State. Mike Price, he took over for Dennis Erickson when he left for Miami. These coaching staffs know each other so well. Growing up in the area, going to high school in many cases together. And this week when Mike Price voted Miami #1 in the poll, boy, did it become bulletin board material for the Washington Huskies. Headlines everywhere. They're refusing that penalty. Second down coming up. 10 yards to go. This is the 11th play now. This drive started from the 11-yard line. Backside pressure. Bledsoe, and the catch. Is it made?
Yes.
That's Darren Pointer. He got it. Dana Hall and Darren Pointer. And Pointer, of course, will get the tie. The tie going to the receiver, but they're still wrapped up in a wrestling hold.
I'll tell you, we saw the same thing last week. And we're seeing it again. Defensive back and receiver simultaneously catching the ball. Darren Pointer comes away with it. And I know he's so excited. Making reference to the song that his,
yes, would you sing that for us?
His aunt sang, the Pointer Sisters.
He's a nephew.
Right there, he just, ooh, I don't know about that. Oh, looks like Hall may have had that, and Darren Pointer only had one hand sandwiched in between the ball and Hall's arm.
We have a Cougar shaken up, by the way, right now. Let's look at it from another angle.
Now, when we say catch the ball simultaneously, both men have to catch the ball and have possession of the ball. Right here, doesn't it look like Hall comes in right in front of him? He goes up, the ball hits Pointer actually and drops down.
I think Pointer had it first, but then Hall second. That's my diagnosis.
You know, actually, it was a two-handed catch, one hand from each player.
Hall, by the way, has one interception this year. He is the senior out of Diamond Bar, California. That is Pointer that is down? No, that can't be him, because on this near side, he was completely away from the play. We'll try to check that number. But that was a catch by Pointer coming back to the ball, his 28th of the year. We mentioned he's the nephew of the Pointer sisters. His father played in Major League Baseball circles. The Houston Astros is now an NFL official. So now we're going to take a break during that injury. 4:39 left in the first quarter. 6-0 Washington.
It is him.
In a rematch of the 1982 Rose Bowl, Washington played the Iowa Hawkeyes, and the MVP was this guy, quarterback Mark Brunell. He scrambles here for a 5-yard touchdown. Then he came back to hit Mario Bailey for a 22-yard strike in the second quarter as Washington won the highest scoring Rose Bowl game in history, 46-34. As we come back now to Derek Sparks. That was Darren Pointer that was hurt. What happened, Lynn? After he made the catch on the far side, he came back and collapsed on the near sideline.
Yeah, I mean, he went down. I don't know if he collapsed or if he just felt he couldn't walk anymore. You see them working on his ankle there. We have no idea what the injury is and what occurred. He was just lying on the field.
Roses and evidence everywhere here. Now they're measuring to see if it is a first down. So this Washington State team, after getting scorched on that long touchdown pass, now putting the drive together. They have it at the 33-yard line now of the Huskies, first down. I think what surprised me the most is been able to run effectively. And of course, that'll help set up the pass. This is the 13th play of this drive. Remember, again, the drive started from the Cougar 11. Trips formation to the near side. Derek Sparks, the freshman, who's played so well, is the lone running back. Play action by Bledsoe. Over the middle. The ball. Olave makes the catch. Agi Olobie out of Nigeria with his first touchdown catch of his career. Only his second catch of the season. A 33-yarder. And what a great play action fake by Bledsoe.
Take a look at this. He's going to get pressure. That's 90. Implement, he comes in, falls down, gets back up. He still gets the ball away. But the receiver was so wide open, Gary, it didn't have to be a pinpoint pass. All he had to do was loft it and let his receiver run underneath it. Extremely intelligent play.
And now, Jason Hanson gives the Cougars a 1-point lead.
Now, all too often, a quarterback gets back here, he wants to fire that ball in here. That time, Drew Bledsoe, under pressure, just puts it up in the air and lets his receiver, Olave, run underneath it. And you see his reaction, yes.
Now we have a penalty flag at the 5.
Non-contact foul on the kicking team. Penalized 15 yards on a kickoff.
Demonstration penalty. You know, we haven't seen that all year, have we, Lynn?
No, not a single one. It's amazing because I think I see more demonstrating now after every tackle and hit.
Yeah. Olave, by the way, was an outstanding track man at Texas Southern. Then he came over to Washington State, and he won the NCAA indoor 55-meter dash, and he beat the Rocket Ishmael. Let's see if we can pick up this 15-yarder. Olave right here. Let's see. He flips the ball. No, I don't see anything there. Do you?
See?
They have called it on the point after, but how in the world could you have it on a point after demonstration? Huh? That would really be an upset.
With Jason Hanson kicking the ball, it should really be routine.
That's right. Well, now, as they assess a penalty, Washington State will kick from their own 20. Now, that's a hard one to figure out.
Yeah, I watched Jason during warm-ups, and he can boot the ball a long way. I don't think he can boot it into the end zone from here. But the return people are still lining up at the 10-yard line.
They give him some respect, don't they? Kaufman is back on the 10-yard line along with Bean O'Brien. And this kick is going to be hauled in by Kaufman at the 22. And this freshman brings it out to the 32. They talk about what quickness he has. And Kyle Foy down there to make the stop. I'll tell you, this Washington State team's playing with some enthusiasm.
Oh, they came into this game with emotion, wanting to win. This can make their whole season, Gary, if they can upset this undefeated Washington team.
Shall we say again what Mike Price told us? He said this will be the upset of the decade. He didn't say it could be.
He said it will be. Now,
right now, his team leading the second-ranked club in the country, 7-6, 4:07 to go in the first quarter. From the 32, Hobart and the Huskies. Oh, what a hit put on that time by Chris Frank. He's a junior college transfer. Been a real surprise for this Cougar team, and there's going to be a loss on the play. just no place to go, and they right now are racking up the running game of Washington.
Chris Frank has been a good surprise for this team. He's a yeoman type player. This time he just takes on the blocker, has good technique with an outside arm free, and is able to make the big play.
Second down and 11 now for the Huskies. Hobart back. Got time. Flag on the play. Complete to Mario Bailey. He would have enough for the first down, but let's see what the penalty flag's all about. Torrey Hunter defending on the play. And Hobart, who had been one of the question marks coming into this year when Mark Brunell went down with a knee injury, has completed a 12-yarder, but an illegal man, no. Must have too many men on the field for Washington State. Yeah, illegal participation. That means more than 11 men on the field.
And that's one way to stop them.
And let's remind everybody, Lynn, Monday it's a showdown in the West between some arch rivals, the 49ers and the Rams. And the 49ers have got to win this football game to stay alive for a wild card spot. And the Rams are out to avenge an earlier loss this season at Candlestick. It all begins 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific. So this will be a 12-yard pass completion, and now you tack on a 15-yard penalty. And all of a sudden, the line of scrimmage at the Washington State 41-yard line. Boy, is that costly. Too many men on the field, and they still couldn't stop that play. From the 41, the Huskies with Hobart pitching to Bryant. Look at his quickness as he's able to negotiate the 35. Torrey Hunter knocks him out of bounds over there. 7-yard pickup on the play. You know, Washington State has had a lot of mistakes early in this game, but they still have a lead, and they're playing with such enthusiasm. Some of those are just mistakes because of their enthusiasm. There's the graphic thus far, penalty-wise. Washington State already with 4. 3:24 to go in the first quarter. Hobart on a 2nd and 3, going up top. Bailey's there, can't make the catch. Looked like he had a tough time locating that one, because that ball was thrown very well by Hobart. And Lynn, you've been in those situations. What happens on a play like that?
Well, I think he was probably just leaning back looking for the ball. He's going to beat number 24, Torrey Hunter, on this. He's got single coverage and wants the ball and the angle that it comes over the receiver's shoulder. This is still a very catchable ball, but look at his head. He's straining back. It comes right over the top and just goes through his arms. What you have to do, Gary, is adjust your body so it's an easier catch.
And Hobart dismayed, obviously, as it comes to 3rd and 3, and he's going for the first down. He's got it. That completion coming to Curtis Gaspard, a senior out of New Orleans, and he'll have it at the 22-yard line of Washington State, a gain of 11. Rushing and Pryor combined on the stop.
You know, Hobart knows that as a quarterback and receiver, you don't always get that many opportunities to make a big play like that. No matter how good your football team is, it's not guaranteed to you.
We have another penalty flag. The ball was inside the 25, but the flag back at the 41, the line of scrimmage.
Holding, offense, still 3rd down.
So that'll wipe out that first down catch. Don James said that this football team has not looked ahead to the Rose Bowl because of the history of this game. In 1982, Washington State beat them here in Husky Stadium and knocked the Huskies out of the Rose Bowl. Then they went back to Pullman and lost to the Cougars in '83. And Don James said that loss in '82 was the lowest point of his career. It was a rainy day, and I remember that game very well. And now on a 3rd down 21 after the penalty. Hobart back, he's going for all of it. Bailey's down here. Defending on the play is Michael Wright. It's incomplete. Michael Wright staying with the speedster, the senior out of Kennedy High School in Seattle. You know he's excited, coming back home to play in the Apple Cup. So the penalty stalls that drive, and 4th down comes up.
Take a look at number 75, Kennedy. In the Rose Bowl, there'll be another 75, Greg Skrepenak on offense. Look at him, he just takes on this man. This is no contest for him. He just blocks him out. Almost looks like he blocks out the sun, too.
Well, they were saying that he'll block 2 guys on a lot of plays. Torrey Hunter back to field his punt from John Wardell. Not exceptionally well punted ball, and it's going to bounce inside the 20 and take a Husky bounce and go out of bounds at about the 13-yard line. So that's where Washington State will have it. 39-yard punt. And thus far, a team that's an overwhelming underdog. Washington State has surprised some folks with a 7-6 lead here. 2:34 left in this first quarter. Billy Joe Hobart had to replace Mark Brunell at quarterback, and I asked Don James about Billy Joe.
I thought he'd be pretty good, but Gary, the thing that's always concerned me is first-year quarterbacks and first-game quarterbacks. Usually, it takes a game or two to get under your belt, get some experience. And every quarterback that we've ever played, they've not played very well in the early games and struggled. We had to look at Stanford on the road. First time this school has ever played a league game on the road, in Nebraska on the road with a new quarterback. And you couldn't have written a better script. Billy came out of the box, looked like a seasoned veteran.
And so they won those games. Today they have not come out of the box other than that long touchdown pass. And Shambe Wright Fair carried on that last play. Donald Jones and Steve Entman made the stop. Didn't gain anything on the play. Second down, virtually 10, maybe 11 yards to go. 4 wideouts, hand off to Wright Fair, the quick feet, but doesn't get him much. Entman was there. Steve Entman, 6'4", 280-pounder. There to make the stop. He just keeps coming after you. He just is relentless. And it brings up 3rd down and 11 now for the Cougars. Washington State coming into this game 4-6. Lost their first 3 of the year. Rebounded. Big wins against Arizona State and Arizona. Looked like the blitz is coming. They picked it up over the middle. Bobo can't get it. Bobo acrobatically going after the ball. Dana Hall defending the blitz from Tommy Smith, the strong safety.
Bobo was seriously close to stepping out of bounds on that last play, Gary, as he got pinned to the sideline. He'll take a look from the end zone. Pressure coming in. Man coverage. The ball's lofted in the air, but he got pushed to the sideline pretty hard there by Dana Hall.
Tell you, he almost pulled that off. Hansen with a beautiful punt, driving Bino Bryant back inside the 40. He comes across the 45 to the 50 in the open field. Jason Hansen tries to make the tackle, and he's going to go out of bounds at the 27-yard line. 50-yard punt by Jason Hansen, but a 36-yard return by Bino Bryant.
Well, I tell you, Gary, not to get away from this game, but you know you're going to see Washington and Michigan in the Rose Bowl. You got to believe that a guy like Bino has to say, I've got my chance to show out against this Desmond Howard. I want to show them what I can do also. And he wants to make the big plays.
And that is a big play. Sets it up at the 27th. 1 minute to go, first quarter. Hobart pitches back to Jay Barry. Barry, following his blockers, takes it to the 21. Let's go to New York. Here's Roger Tribal.
Thanks, Gary, for the old Oaken bucket. And this is what it came down to, 24-22. Purdue can win it with the field goal. Joe O'Leary from 35 yards out, wide right. His 4th miss of the day. And the final, Indiana wins it. They will go to the Copper Bowl in Tucson, Arizona against Baylor December 31. Let's go back to Gary.
Jimmy Coletto in his first year at Purdue, what a difficult way to end his season. Here's a handoff to Bryant. Bryant wedging it forward, very close to the first down as we come to the waning seconds of this first quarter. Bryant that time tackled by Ron Childs and Anthony McClanahan. Washington down by 1. This Husky team has won 12 games in a row going back to last year. They remember last year they were prohibitive favorites against UCLA, only to be upset by the Bruins and ruin their chances at a national championship. And Lynn, wouldn't you imagine they know what Michigan did today?
Oh, I think so. You know, they got a chance to watch a little bit of it, keeping abreast of what they're doing.
That was enough for the first down. Here's an end around handoff to McKay, and he falls down. Orlando McKay loses yardage back to the 19-yard line. And so we have come to the end of the first quarter. It's the Cougars of Washington State leading the Huskies of Washington 7-6. Don James, the winningest coach in Pac-10 history. The James gang down by 1 after 1 quarter, and Mike Price,
the guy with the headset on and the white hat with his back to us.
there he is. There he goes. This guy's really got a great sense of humor, doesn't he?
Yes, he does.
Second down now, 13 yards to go from the 20-yard line. Hobert back to throw as we start the second quarter. Over the middle, Bailey, too far. Mario Bailey looking for his 16th touchdown catch of the year, which is a Pac-10 record. This guy's had some sensational games out of Franklin High School in Seattle.
He's got a quick release off that line of scrimmage, and that's a big asset to have when you're down here close to the goal line. Quick passing attack, being able to get by that corner in a hurry.
Tell you one thing that Don James said about Hobert. He said every time that somebody got ahead of us, Hobert has always brought us back. Well, right now his team down by 1. Hobert back, throwing far corner, Orlando McKay and right, and there's going to be an incomplete pass, and here's a late flag. Very late flag. Wright and McKay were bouncing into each other in the far corner of the end zone.
Wright was playing him very tough, Gary. Had very close coverage on him. Great position. But we have to take a look and see if Wright does not turn his head back to the ball and raises his hand. If he does, then the penalty's on him. No, that should not have been a penalty whatsoever.
No, they both have a right to the football. And in that case, they were both exercising that right. That should never have been a penalty. And so the old debate comes back. Why don't you have replay? In a play like that, I'm sure the replay would substantiate what we said. There should be no penalty.
Defense in the end zone. Penalized 15 yards from the previous spot. Automatic first down.
And I'm sure that the colleges don't want to go through the expense of putting
Well, I'm not suggesting they do it, but in a case like that, it would be helpful, wouldn't it?
Now, there's some contact there. He's looking at him. He's playing. He's got position. He's not shoving the receiver at all. I think he turns back and throws his hand up, and the ball's bouncing harmlessly to the side.
And both of them were shoving, for that matter. So Wright gets the pass interference, first and goal at the 5. Handoff straight ahead to Bryant, and he's able to get maybe to the 3-yard line. A lot of penalties in this football game. Ron Childs, who's starting in place of Ken Lurcher, who's out with mono. He is a freshman, made the stop. Bryant will come out of the action now. Jay Barry checks in. 7-6 Washington State. Already in this game, Washington State has 5 penalties for 60 yards. Washington 4 for 45. Second and goal from the 4. Matt Jones, the fullback in motion. Play action. Complete. Darius Turner, touchdown, Washington. Darius Turner's had a lot of back trouble this year. The junior coming up with his first touchdown catch of the year.
He gets behind this big offensive line, then skirts the end. Nice little play action to keep him up tight. He's on the outside. There's not a man with a white jersey around to even think of covering him.
Well, they really flooded that area, didn't they?
They sure did.
They had Jones in motion. And they sent Turner over there.
Plus you have the play action, and you've got to respect it. Draws everybody in.
They're going to go for 2 now after having their point after blocked earlier in the game. They have a trips formation to the top of the field. Hobert, quick slant. Aaron Pierce, tight end. He's got it. No, he does not have it. He had it for a moment. They were indicating a 2-pointer, and then they waved it off. Aaron Pierce, an outstanding decathlete, looked like he had that football. All of a sudden, it came loose. Let's look at it again.
Pierce is 6'5". They were just trying to use that height. Look, he goes up, and he just doesn't have control when he drops it.
12-7, Washington.
Holiday Showdown. 7th-ranked Penn State is out to carve up their arch rival, the Pitt Panthers. Thanksgiving Day on ABC's College Football.
Guys starting to clear here. Mount Rainier in the background. Beautiful setting here. Husky Stadium. As the Huskies now have the lead for the second time in the game. Going for two, not successful. Now with a 12-7 advantage. Jason Crabb will kick off for the Huskies. Chuck Snyder and Pryor go back net. Deep on the far side, and the ball kicked high into the air and almost gathered in by Dana Hall, and here comes a flag. Ball went out of bounds, so they'll get the ball at the 35. Boy, that was almost fielded by a Husky on the fly. It was Dana Hall, couldn't quite get there.
Yeah, and I'm not sure whether that was by design or an accident. I can't tell. I mean, by design, it's a great play. Gets up very high. The return team unsuspecting.
And that would be their ball. You get a 10 yards and you catch that ball. I'm only surprised they hadn't been tried somewhere. Somebody just kind of bloop it up over the middle and have some guy run underneath it.
Well, it may have just been tried. We just don't know whether it was designed or not.
Of course, you have the option this year, and one of those options is you can take an out-of-bounds kick at the 35, and that's where the Cougars will start it. So Drew Bledsoe down now 12-7, 14:08 to go in this first half.
And you have to believe that Washington State has to feel real good about their position in this ball game. I mean, they were predicted, they were underdogs by as much as 34 points coming into this game, and they've been able to keep them under control.
Bledsoe's going to be buried. Oh, Donald Jones unloaded on him. Second sack of the game. That just shows you again, those linebackers run so well. That's what Don James started to recruit at speed. He had big, strong guys. Now Lenny's got big, strong guys who are fast.
Ever since I was in college, that was a wrap on the Washington Huskies. Big, but not very fast. And you look at Donald Jones, and he's 6'1", about 230. He's not the big guy, but he's got some great speed, very strong.
Wow. Started to recruit speed in 88, changed their philosophy defensively in 89, and right now unbeaten rank number 2. And now we have a timeout called by Washington. They had a alignment problem.
Well, Washington State, they said coming into this ball game, they didn't change any of their plays, but what they're doing is changing a lot of their formations. Right there, they caused some confusion. Washington has to take a timeout. That could be a costly decision right there later on in the ball game.
12-7. We'll be back in just a moment. Washington used their first timeout. They had 12 men on the field. So after the sack, it's 2nd and 15. 51 sacks. The Cougars have given up. I mean, Drew Bledsoe has taken some punishment this year. From the 30-yard line, 13:29 to go in the first half. There's sparks, flags everywhere. I think every hanky that could be thrown was thrown on that play. Brent Collins, number 46, was there on Sparks. Boy, those linebackers, they just rove around. They run around. They're marauders out there. Stanford in the big game with a 7-0 lead, and that's against Washington. No, wait a minute. They waved the wrong way. The false start. Well, he corrected himself in a hurry.
Well, sometimes when you get off the blocks that quick, you might think it's a false start.
Well, this Washington State team has really made us difficult today, penalty-wise. They just haven't been able to play mechanically a good game. Looked like Bob Garman, the left offensive tackle, with the false start. They have 6 penalties now, 55 yards. 2nd and 20 from the 25. Kennedy goes in motion. Bledsoe giving off to Sparks, and Sparks doesn't get much on that one, maybe a yard. And we got 3rd down and 19 yards to go. Sparks has had some very good games. He had 97 yards against Arizona. When he was a sophomore in high school, he was a sophomore player of the year when he played at Banning High School. He played at 4 different high schools in his 4 years, and they feel he is a real gem, a true freshman, as Rogers and Pauakoa make the stop for Washington.
Yeah, he came under a little flack there. His uncle was moving him around to all those different schools, and you know, which really, to a great degree, is not the best for him in terms of settling him down, but that's what he did.
Bobo split to the near side on the 3rd and 19. Bledsoe back. Got time. Throwing, and it is going to be intercepted. Picked off by Walter Bailey. Bailey to the 10. He is going to take it in. Touchdown, Washington. 37 yards, and Bailey with his 7th interception of the year.
We told you about how good this defense is. We'll take a look. There's the pass to Clarence Williams. It's tipped up in the air, and that is dangerous. And then coming over, Walter Bailey. And the terrible thing about it is Drew Bledsoe is right there, the last wall of defense, and he is just driven into the end zone by Bailey.
That's the longest interception return for Bailey, and his 2nd for a touchdown this year. 37 yards. Boy, they just jump on you, don't they? 2-point attempt again. They're going to get this right one of these times, right? 18-7 the count. Hobart rolling out, and he hits his man Jay Barry, and he's in for 2. Well, there's a little different demonstration than I've seen in some time. A salute.
Who's he saluting to? His girlfriend in the stands?
I don't know. 20-7. Tell you, this Husky defense has just shut everybody down. And now they've jumped to a 20-7 lead. Let's look at the 2-point try again.
And while we look at it, we have to keep in mind that so far in this ball game, there's been very little that the Cougars have done defensively really to stop the Huskies. The Huskies have stopped themselves not converting the extra point, dropping the pass when they went for 2. This time they make it work.
Are you trying to tell me that the only way Washington State can win this is getting a shootout?
Yeah, keep their offense on the field. The offense goes down, make some big plays.
Speaking of a shootout, next Saturday, ABC Sports begins its coverage of golf's most entertaining event, the 9th annual Skins Game. PGA champion John Daly joins U.S. Open champion Payne Stewart, Jack Nicklaus, and defending champion Curtis Strange from PGA West in La Quinta, California. Beginning at 3:30 Eastern, 2:30 Central, 12:30 Pacific.
The big driver Daly against the big dresser, Stewart.
Yes, sir. And Daly can really hit the ball off the tee. Here is Pryor, going to go to a knee very wisely. And Washington State now at the 20. You get the sense right now, Lynn, this game could get away from Washington State if they don't do something.
They're going to have to answer, Gary. That touchdown drive, the big play. They're going to have to move the ball down the field. Show the Washington Husky defense that they are capable. They're not afraid. Most importantly, Drew Bledsoe cannot lose confidence in himself. He's going to have to keep going up top.
And Bledsoe's already been sacked twice, and he'll start this drive from the 20-yard line.
You might have to say 2.5, the way he took on Bailey at the end and got flattened on his back.
Steve Wolf, the junior, over center. We're going to have a single running back. Right there, lined up behind Bledsoe. 2 receivers. Hand off to Shambe, and boom, guess who got him? Number 90. One of 4 finalists for the Lombardi Award, and that didn't hurt his cause there.
No, it didn't. Steve Ettman came into this season, very heralded player, strong, tough, but what he brought to the game this year was an ability to read more. He takes on the blocker, sheds him, slides with the line, moves into the hole, and just wraps up the ball carrier. And all too often this year, Gary, we've seen guys who, because they're big and strong, just hit him and try and knock him down. Great to see a ball player who's complete.
He is a complete player. Gain, I should say, a loss of the yard, 2nd and 11. There's a handoff to Clarence Williams, coming in an H-back position. A flag on the play as he's thrown for a loss. What they do is they send him like an H-back, hand off to him. He's carried the ball 4 or 5 times this year in that situation. That didn't work at all. Hawakoa and Hoffman made the stop. And the penalties against Washington State holding.
Yeah, I think there are some fingerprints around Ettman's ankles and the legs and arms.
So Washington State now in a big hole. They're going to refuse the penalty. There's Price, wig-wagging the plays in. It'll be 3rd and 13 now for the Cougs. Washington State with Bledsoe always can strike quickly. They've had some big plays this year. This guy has been breaking all the sophomore passing records at Washington State, and they've had some outstanding quarterbacks through the years. Let's start from the 17. There's an end-around handoff to Bobo, and that just didn't fool anybody on the Washington team. DeMarco Farr was there. Then Tyrone Rogers is there. Number 90 got over there. It's a loss of 4. And you talk about anticipating a play. They had that one snipped out.
Sure did. Folks, just in case you're wondering, obviously we said Farr, number 75 was on the play. We'll say number 75 also when the Huskies are on offense. Lincoln Kennedy. This Washington Husky football team has more double numbers than I've ever seen in my life.
That's just to confuse guys like you, Len.
Well, they're doing a darn good job of it.
4th and 17. The punt now underway by Jason Hanson. Nose high, and it's going to go out of bounds at the 40-yard line. That's only a 27-yard punt. With Jason Hanson, punter and place kicker. And right now, the Huskies, they're getting up ahead of steam. They lead at 20-7. The Washington Huskies came into the 1982 Rose Bowl versus Iowa's the underdogs. Husky running back Jock Robinson scored on a 1-yard touchdown run in the first quarter. On his way to being the MVP. He scored from 34 yards out in the fourth quarter as the Huskies posted the first Rose Bowl shutout in 28 years to win it 28-0. Mark Brunell is the new quarterback for Washington, and he hands this one off to Jay Berrien. A nice open field stop, and there's no gain on the play. That was Anthony Pryor, the strong safety, flying up there to stop Brunell. Here's quite a story. Mark Brunell, the MVP of the Rose Bowl, had his knee hurt in spring ball. Many thought he'd never be back this year. And you wonder how a guy who led him to the Rose Bowl a year ago would handle all this. He has been absolutely sensational. He's Billy Joe Hobart's strongest supporter, and he's helped him in every way possible. Second down now, 10 from the 40-yard line. Brunell, an entirely different kind of quarterback than Hobart. Play action. He's a left-hander. Coming up with the pass near side, Bailey, and there's going to be a pass interference there. He was hit before the ball arrived. Torrey Hunter, the freshman out of Tacoma Curtis High School, hit him, and Bailey then could not get to the football. So Brunell coming back with that serious knee injury, still wearing a heavy brace, did a nice job on the play action, and the pass interference will give him the first down.
Let's take a look at Bailey. They're playing off of him. He pulls in like he's going for the post, draws Torrey Hunter in, then wheels on him, so he's in good position right there for the catch. And there was a pass interference right there by Hunter. He just reached over the shoulder and hit him.
That now is the 7th penalty against Washington State for 80 yards in the game. And so it'll set it up. First down at the 25-yard line. Looked like Hunter kind of lost his footing on that play as he tried to cut over to defend on the play and bounced right into Bailey. Two receivers, top of the field. Brunell has Jones and Bino Bryant in the backfield. Gives to Bryant. Bryant pecking his way inside the 25. Good tackle by Lewis Bush. I'll tell you, Bush will hit you. He came up with a very good tackle on that play. He missed last year due to academics. Has come back with a good speed that he has and made a very picturesque tackle for a gain of a yard. Second, 9 yards to go. Bailey along with McKay split to the top of the field. 20-7, Washington with the lead. Hand off to Bryant. Bryant moving the pile forward close to the 20-yard line. It'll be 4 yards short of the first down. Boy, that offensive line really coming off the ball.
That's true. McClanahan, number 41, inside linebacker, does a good job of seeing this play. So he reads it and then puts his head down, comes forward right away, takes on the lead blocker, takes him on with one shoulder. That's a proper technique because then that leaves his other arm free to make the tackle, and he does.
You see that line, though? Those big purple shirts, they're just moving their legs, aren't they?
Oh, yeah.
Third down 5 now from the 20. Brunell getting hit as he releases the ball. Bailey wide open, touchdown. His 16th of the year. I tell you, Brunell got hit very hard, but he stayed in there. 20-yard touchdown pass.
Well, you know, they came out, they set up for a pass, they had the blitz on, perfect play called. Bailey all alone in the end zone.
Looked like the hit from Pryor, who unloaded coming on the blitz. Just didn't get there in time. And all of a sudden, it's 26-7. And now they're going to go for 2 again. I tell you, Brunell, what's really interesting about this Washington team, they keep playing their backup people. So Hobart's been playing, Brunell's playing. They gain a lot of experience for the backup guys.
Well, now that Brunell has come into the ball game, we can say for their entire season, there have only been 2 games this year that the starting 22 have played throughout the entire game, not been substituted.
There's Barry trying to go wide on the 2-point play, and that didn't work at all. Ron Childs, a redshirt freshman from Kennewick, Washington, made the stop. So at 8:30 to go in the first half, it's 26-7 Washington. Not a bad way to come to a football game out on Lake Washington. Some of the flotilla that came in for this. And what a setting this is. Husky Stadium. And right now, the home-standing Huskies with a 26-7 lead. Washington State's got to get something going. The last 2 drives, Lynn, they've had a -11 and a -7 yards.
Oh, they've had those tackles for losses, the sacks. Husky defense really finding its stride.
Check Snyder back deep along with Pryor. And it's going to be Check Snyder. Calvin Check Snyder, a junior college transfer, and going nowhere. So from the 15-yard line, that's where they'll start it. Life Johnson was there to make the stop. Coming up at halftime on the Prudential Halftime Report, Roger Bowe run down the top 25 scores and bring you the latest college football news and highlights. Plus, Bowe gives us his view of the key final minutes that decided last week's showdown between Florida State and Miami, the battle of number 1 against number 2. 26-7 Washington State, who led at one time 7-6, and here comes Donald Jones running around. I don't know what he saw, but he came across the line of scrimmage.
He looked.
Did
so
they
one
move?
of the players moved, but the line was not in a 3-point stance. They were just in a 2-point.
Offense.
I'll tell you, Jones saw it, didn't he?
Yeah.
Bob Garman's the guy that moved the left tackle. As we said, he's the only senior in the starting lineup offensively. Jones was explaining his predicament there for a moment, wasn't he?
They're trying to justify. Really, I saw something move.
1st and 15 now from the 10-yard line. Bledsoe giving off to Derek Sparks, and Sparks hammers his way back to the original line of scrimmage. Dave Hoffman made the stop there. So Washington State really needing to get something going. This game's slipping away from them.
Gary, I saw over at the athletic building, Impman, Rogers, Mason all looking at film, talking about this game. And I asked them what they felt the big difference was in their team this year over last year. He says, not taking anything for granted, wanting to improve, always wanting to win and get better.
2nd down, 11 now. Bledsoe straight back in the seam area. The pass intended, and it will not be caught by Alobia. And so we have a flag back at the 11-yard line.
It may be against Andy Mason for hitting the quarterback late. I'm not sure. Looked like I saw number 13 getting up.
So that would give them the 1st down. Roughing the passer, if that is in fact what it was.
Roughing the passer. Defense. 15 yards. Automatic 1st down.
Well, maybe that will be a building point for this Washington State team. Let's look at it again.
Well, any amount of encouragement would help. You see the Bledsoe getting set to throw right there, and he's hit. Whoa.
Hoffman.
Well,
Hoffman, their leading tackler, just having an All-American type year in the estimation of Don James. That was unnecessary. 1st down now at the 30. Butch Williams in motion. Bledsoe. Quick hitch far side. The catch is made by Boone Borden. Now he is the holder on placements, and that's his 1st catch of the year. Well, that's a surprise. See him in the lineup. Walter Bailey defending on the play.
Well, C.J. Davis, been one of their top receivers for them, number 1. Had a compound dislocation of his index finger. I talked to him. He's standing on the sideline, really wanting to be in this ball game, and he just couldn't do it. They had to operate on the finger, so they're hoping some other people can come in and pull up the slack.
2nd down and 3. Bledsoe on target. Boy, did he throw a rope that time. Bobo made the catch. There's the arm we've been hearing about. That really was indicative of what an arm Bledsoe has. That's a 15-yard gain.
Drew just seemed to whip that one right in there.
Well, this guy has greatness ahead of him. And you think about the quarterbacks they've had. Watch this ball. It just goes flying up the field.
You see, it just threads the needle in between a couple of linebackers right there. Kind of pass you have to have in the crowd, Gary.
Washington State can be very explosive. First down now at the 47.5-yard line of the Huskies. 26-7 Washington. Handoff. Running the ball is going to be Sparks, and Sparks to the 45 and knocked down there. Just inside the 45, Hoffman and Ettman on the stop. Hoffman, the junior out of San Jose.
There's Dave. His dad's a Lutheran minister. But I tell you, he does not play like he is ever going to turn the other cheek there. He just reads it, finds that ball carrier, makes a stop. Notice he didn't even back up.
I don't think he's a choir boy either, do you?
That mouth guard is just dangling.
He has a brother who's coming along, too. They're very excited about. Freshman by the name of Steve Hoffman. Here's a pass, and that should have been caught. And Schexnayder couldn't come up with it. Dana Hall defending on the play.
He looked awfully stiff going up for that ball, Gary, like he didn't want any part of it.
Schexnayder is one of those junior college guys, transferred from Fresno City College, and caught 50 passes last year in the JC ranks, and had coming into this game a total of 17. So it brings up 3rd down 7. Line of scrimmage, the 45 of the Huskies. 6:39 to go in the first half. 2 of 7 on 3rd down conversions thus far for the Cougars. Bledsoe waiting for the man to make his break, and it's incomplete. Intended receiver is Philip Bobo. Pretty good coverage that time by the Huskies.
Good coverage. Ettman putting on good pressure on the quarterback, getting through 2 blockers. They put together a complete package. They pressure the quarterback. They have linebackers filling in the gap and dropping back for the passes. And the secondary doing an excellent job of covering the Cougar receivers.
This year, they've held 5 teams without a touchdown. The #1 ranked defense in the country. Hansen struggling a little bit as far as the punting is concerned, as Bino Bryant goes back to the 10-yard line. Big rush put on. Flag on the play. And the fair catch made by Bryant at the 18-yard line. Andy Mason went flying through the air trying to block that punt. A 27-yarder. It's illegal procedure against Washington State. Let's see if they'll refuse that and take it where they have it, or make him punt it over.
I think Jason Hansen would scare me in terms of putting one out on the boundary inside the 10. I just take it there. They're close to the 20-yard line right now.
That's what they're going to do. They're going to refuse it. So it'll move it inside the 20 to the 18-yard line. It's awfully hard to punt and place kick. You use different kinds of muscles. Of course, it takes a lot more time to work on both. But this guy's place kicking is nothing short of sensational. He had a 62-yarder this year against UNLV. The longest field goal in history without a kicking team. From the 18-yard line now, Billy Joe Hobart has come back in at quarterback. After Brunell marched him goalward, he'll come back in and start this drive with Bryant carrying the ball. Look at his quickness. Didn't get anywhere, though, as there's a flag on the play. John Rushing, who's their 2nd leading tackler. He's a redshirt freshman. 124 tackles for a free safety. That's a lot of tackles.
Well, that means there are a lot of people getting back into the secondary, too.
Going to be holding against Washington. Rushing and McClanahan, between the 2 of them, have done the bulk of the tackling for this Washington State team. Bryant's quickness was really evident on that last play as he tried to duck outside.
But unfortunately, he's running from side to side. There he is.
It'll be half the distance on this penalty, and it'll move it inside the 10-yard line. It'll be first down and 19 yards to go. 6:16 to go. First half. 26-7. Huskies trying to finish out the regular season unbeaten at 11-0. Hand off to Bryant again, and Bryant out to around the 14-yard line and tackled there.
Gary, this Husky team not playing with a great deal of emotion, but they're playing very efficient football. And they're coming out, they're executing, they're trying not to make mistakes. And if you can find one disappointment of the team so far in the ball game, the penalties and a few mistakes like that, but they're coming out playing a game that they want to play, not to get too high, not to allow the Cougars to make too many big plays on them, catch them off guard. win this game and start thinking about the Rose Bowl.
2nd and 15. Here on the option is Hobart. Pitching it back to his trail man, Bryant. Nice spin move. And he'll be knocked out of bounds short of the 25. He needs to get to the 28 for a first down. That's an 11-yard gain on the play. So Hobart on the option. I tell you, when Billy Joe Hobart at 6'3", 225 pounds, comes down the line in the option, he is a load to tackle.
Oh, he sure is. But he lumbers down the line. Take a look at rushing. Excuse me, right. Excuse me, that was rushing number 10 coming in on the play.
And a nice spin move by Bryant. Last year was an all Pac-10 return specialist, replacing Greg Lewis at the tailback spot this year. 3rd down and 3, and the catch is made by Bailey, and that'll be a first down. Boy, that was a nice piece of work. Good footwork that time by Mario Bailey. That had to be bang bang, or that wasn't going to happen at all. Well, how good is this Washington team? I posed that question to Don James.
Well, you know, we've got good size and speed and quickness. We've got a real good balance of experience and youth. I think the best thing I can say about the team is that they've played very hard for 10 straight weeks.
And now for the 11th week, they're playing very hard as the carry now will come across the 30 to the 32-yard line. Bryant carrying the football. A gain of 4 to be 2nd down and 6 yards to go. Bryant with 41 yards on 13 carries. Well, we saw Michigan last week, Lynn. Getting a chance to look at Washington this week. And, of course, they'll be here on ABC January 1st. What do you think?
I think it's going to be a real tough contest. They seem to match up very well. Both teams have some excellent players on the front line, offensively and defensively. I think it's going to be a defensive contest throughout most of the game.
The eating contest between Lincoln Kennedy and Greg Skripnik ought to be something. There's a flag on the play again as Bryant trying to go on the right side. Kurt Westerfield makes the spot. We'll come back to find out what the flag is, but right now here's New York and Roger Twibel.
Well, thank you very much, Gary. A good battle between California and Stanford. The Bears had not been inside the Stanford 20 until this play. Pulaski to Dawkins, 66 yards. A little high step and move into the end zone. And they are tied 7-7 in the big game. Let's go back to Gary.
All right, Roger, be sure and watch the Stanford band at halftime. No telling what they'll do.
I'll tell you what, if Cal doesn't win that ball game, Sean Dawkins won't be high stepping very far.
Boy, he's made some big plays. He made a big play just like that against Washington, remember? Catching the ball in the same area of the field. That penalty now is the 8th penalty against Washington for 79 yards. Washington State has 8 penalties for 85. These guys are neck and neck in the penalty department. 2nd down, 19 yards to go after the penalty. Line of scrimmage just inside the 20. Was holding against Washington. Hobart, deep drop, rifles it, completes it to Gaspard, and Curtis Gaspard is across the 35 to the 37. Michael Wright defending on the play. 17-yard gain. That was the last game for John Gutekunst of Minnesota, losing to the Hawkeyes. He upset Iowa last year in the last game of the year. John Gutekunst, really a class guy. Hope that everything works out very well for him. 3rd down now, 2 yards to go. And those Jayhawks beating up on the Tigers.
Tigers must be really down this year.
Thank you, Lynn. USC's lost how many in a row? Handoff this time to Bryant, and he's out to the 39-yard line.
I don't know. I haven't been keeping track.
Okay, just checking.
Oh, of course, I know. They lost 5 in a row. And they're playing UCLA this afternoon. A 3:30 start, I think, for them.
Well, let's see. Did they get the first down, or are they going to measure? Looks like they're going to bring the sticks in with 4:18 to go in this first half. Washington started out the year, had to beat Stanford, and people didn't realize how good Stanford was going to be. They've won 6 in a row going into that game against Cal.
Of course, you mentioned this earlier today. It might have been, Washington's good fortune to play Stanford early, as that team has improved dramatically through the season. And with Hobart coming in, having to start for this team for the first time, it was a good set of circumstances for him.
They pulled it off, and then Stanford struggled early, and now they've put it together. And of course, both Stanford and Cal headed to postseason bowls. The measurement produces a first down just across the 35, should say the 39-yard line. Hobart giving off this time to Bryant, and Bryant is able to take it to the 43 and knock down there. Boy, that offensive line of Washington. We talk about Kennedy and Malamala, but Rungan, Novell, Cunningham up front, big, strong guys. Rungan, number 72, he didn't even let her until this year. He waited his turn. That's the kind of depth and the kind of program that they have at Washington. You got to earn the right to play on this football team.
And they've got a couple of guys backing them up. They're 290, 285, 283.
Second down and 6. Pitch comes back to Bryant again. Nice cutback. Stays on his feet, and he's about a yard short of the first down. Bryant only 175 pounds. And the thing that Don James said about Bryant, he's had big games in the big games. In other words, he has been a very clutch performer for the Huskies.
A lot of times these players face pressure. You don't know exactly what they're going to do, how they respond to it. In his case, he's responded by making, as you said, the big plays, accepting the challenge, looking for the opportunities.
They wondered if they could replace Greg Lewis, who led the Pac-10 in rushing a year ago. Hobart straightens up and completes it to McKay. McKay is buried, but it'll be the first down at the 46. A gain of 8 on the play, and Hobart had something on that one.
McKay, Orlando, I thought he was in Tampa.
Orlando McKay, the most improved player offensively for Washington from Mesa, Arizona, has that track speed. He worked very hard in the offseason on agility drills in his apartment. Must have driven the people downstairs crazy.
Yeah, they said nobody complained too much.
First down just short of the 45. 2:29 left in the first half. Hobart again coming up, going over to the far side up top, and almost to Mario Bailey. Torrey Hunter defending on the play. By the way, there's quite a story. Torrey Hunter and Mario Bailey. Mario Bailey called Torrey Hunter's girlfriend in Pullman and told her to tell Torrey that he has no business being on the same field with Mario. He's not ready to play against him. I want to know how he got his girlfriend's number.
Listen, you're asking the wrong guy. I don't know.
I would imagine
that is a daring move.
It is.
I'll tell you.
But I tell you, Bailey's match step though. He's come out playing well again. Here's Hobart being flushed out, and he just gets rid of it because Kirk Westerfield was breathing down his neck and was able to knock him down. Aaron Pierce, the intended receiver. That'll stop the clock with 2:14 to go in this first half.
Yeah, and I talked to the coaches before the game, and I said, you know, how does Torrey Hunter feel about all this stuff? And he says, well, I think he's going to have his opportunity to have a few words with Mario Bailey.
Thus far, Washington 5 of 7 on third down. This is 3rd and 10 from the 45. Hobart over the middle, and that ball falls incomplete. Looked like Bailey's the intended receiver, but was not even close, and will bring up 4th down. Mario Bailey, as we said, needed 73 yards coming into the game to set a single season record for yards receiving, as Wardell goes back to punt the football. Wardell was a guy who had left the football team on good good relationship with the coaching staff. Then they needed a punter, and they called him back, and he's been punting from the 3rd game on, and he hit this one well. And that ball is going to die and go out of bounds at the 5. What a job by John Wardell. So while we have a break, let's listen to this from Washington State University. So Washington State, after that very strategically well punted ball, hands off to Wright Fair, and Wright Fair doesn't get very much on that play, maybe a half yard. Jaime Fields, Steve Entman make the stop for the Huskies. And Drew Bledsoe with 1:37 now left in this first half. His team down 26-7. They got Bobo split to the near side. 2nd down, 9 yards to go. They shrink the formation. Single running back is Wright Fair. They're going to hand off to him, and that fooled nobody. Looks like a feeding frenzy down there, didn't it?
Yeah, it's a tough place to be. You've got an offense that has had a tough day against this Husky defensive line. You want to move it away from your own end zone. You don't want to take a lot of risks and chances. You know, you got Steve Entman, who's, you know, just take a look at him here, number 90. He's lining up, shading inside the center and the guard, comes off, both guards crashing down on him, just trying to drive him off the line of scrimmage, and he's there. He doesn't move.
Looked like a triple team, didn't it? Washington called a timeout. They still are thinking they're going to get this football. So they have one left with 1:14 left in this first half. Well, tonight you'll be laughing out loud all night long here on ABC, starting with new episodes of Who's the Boss and Growing Pains. Then imagine what life is like when City Slicker Chevy Chase moves to the country. It's the network premiere of Funny Farm tonight on ABC.
Hey, Gary.
What? What were you going to say?
I was going to ask if you, did you see Family Matters last night?
I didn't.
You didn't?
There was a performer by the name of Greg on there. Who was that?
I don't know. Handsome guy, I think.
I heard he had a tremendous kiss at the end.
Yeah?
Oh, maybe it wasn't shown maybe in the area that we're broadcasting this.
It's a national.
Let me just tell you that
on
Lynn
the ABC
Swan,
network.
let me just say, in case you didn't know what we're talking about, Lynn Swan made his acting debut last night, and I've heard the reviews were just outstanding. Rave reviews.
Yes, my whole family called in and said they enjoyed it.
When are you going to get me in a play or a TV or movie or something? Yeah, how about the whole crew?
Yeah, if you're all good to me someday, you know, I'll call you out.
3rd and 9 now. Bledsoe is going to be sacked for a safety. Jaime Fields got him. Look at these guys. Are they something? Jaime Fields almost untouched. That's his 2nd sack of the day. Well, they're 1 of 3 on 2-point conversions, but they came back and helped that by getting the safety here.
That's what I meant about it being a scary place to be. He backs up in his own end zone. Jaime's coming all the way on the blitz, and he gets there in a hurry. Now take a look, another angle. This Husky team, they're playing more than just for the Apple Cup here, Jerry. They want to make a statement about how good they are. When people are voting for the national championship, they don't want them to look back and say, hey, you didn't handle this Washington State Cougar football team. You know, they made it tough on you.
Well, Jaime Fields started last year, then got hurt, and then has taken over that starting job. You can see why, and you see the pressure they put on him. Mike Price is probably saying, we've still got 1:09 left in this first half, as they'll receive, Washington will, after the safety, this kick. I tell you the thing that gets me about Washington, you almost get the sense they're playing with more than 11 guys out there. The way they swarm and the way they run to the football. Terrific speed, and that's been the big difference in this reborn program under Don James.
Well, they came close to an undefeated season last year. You know, and they were having a good year, and they said we're a better football team. You know, we have some goals, and so they came into the season wanting to make certain things happen, to be an undefeated team, to be possibly a national championship team.
Jason Hanson will kick it to the near side. Here's Napoleon Cochran, the sensational freshman, and he'll bring it out to the 35, 36-yard line with 1:05. 1 timeout left now for the Huskies after a 16-yard return.
28-7. Well, they didn't get the 2 of the conversions that they tried for 2 points, but they picked up the 2 points here.
Unusual game. We've had 4 touchdowns, 1 2-point conversion, 2 failed conversions, and a safety. How's that for an unusual story? As you look now, Alobier with the only scoring of the day for Washington State. Turner, Bailey coming back with that interception. And then the other Bailey, Mario Bailey, on a touchdown catch as they come out throwing to McKay, and McKay makes the catch short of the 49, another first down.
Now I was wondering 59 seconds ago in the first half, Huskies are up 28-7, whether or not they're trying to mount a 2-minute drill type drive down the field. They come out first play throwing the football to Orlando McKay.
Impressive win by Michigan today against Ohio State, and right now Washington is doing the same thing against one of their big rivals. McKay already has 4 catches, 105 yards. Line of scrimmage just short of the 49. 59 seconds left in the half. Holbert on target. Catch is made by Gaspard. Michael Wright defending, and the Huskies are hurrying up now without a huddle. An 11-yard gain on the play. They'll mark the ball just short of the 40-yard line. They stopped the clock to move the sticks. They haven't started it yet. With 52, now they put it in play. Hobart back again. Far side, Aaron Pierce, the tight end. And he's got a first down at the 15-yard line.
If he could backpedal a little bit better and get his body under control, he'd be in the end zone right now.
Aaron Pierce was suspended in the offseason. Team violation rule-wise. He's come back and has really been an integral part of this offense.
Now look at the wall you see there, protection. Nobody's getting through. Hobart just sets, finds his man, pinpoints the pass. Pierce comes up with his end of the deal with the catch. Rushing hits him, knocks him out of bounds.
There's a handoff this time to Bryant. Boy, on this drive, Hobart has completed a 13, an 11, and a 25-yarder, moving the ball so quickly. They don't gain anything on that play. Kurt Westerfield was there to make the stop. Westerfield's played a strong game as Washington now will use their final timeout with 33 seconds left in the half. 28-7 in favor of the Huskies.
The Huskies knocking at the door again.
Well, this Washington team, a team that is getting to play a lot of people today. You mentioned using their 2-minute drill, getting that to perfection. And of course, now they got to be thinking, let's get everything tuned up before we take a Thanksgiving break and get ready for the Wolverines in Pasadena.
They're going to have some time coming up. Washington getting ready for their finals. Their finals will be over. They start, I think he said, about the 13th or 14th of December, and they finish up with all their testing on the 19th. He's going to let the players have that time off, study, get prepared, have some cardiovascular workouts, you know, not to lose all their conditioning, then bring them back in and head down to Pasadena on the 20th of December.
Boy, what a game that should be. Well, you know, when you're unbeaten, you wonder if you have a theme for the year. I asked that question of Don James.
I think the theme was set by our seniors in meetings last winter, that they wanted to go out and not take a week off. They wanted to play as hard as they could for 11 straight weeks, that there was going to be no let-up, and regardless of point spreads or how good we were supposed to be, and regardless of who's up, we're going to give it our best shot.
And give it their best shot they are right now. There's Hobart, a good scrambling effort, showing some elusiveness to the 12. Hall and Childs make the stop. 14 seconds. They have no timeouts remaining. 12 seconds. Hobart now will just spike the ball and kill the clock. And here's a penalty flag now on the line of scrimmage. 8 seconds left in the half.
The only thing I can think of, either somebody was moving down there, Gary, or an illegal formation where one of the receivers didn't step up on the line or step off the line.
Well, it's illegal procedure.
Of illegal procedure against the Huskies.
So the clock stopped with 8 seconds.
When you're in this close, Gary, 8 seconds is enough time. You can consider throwing a quick pass play that might get you into the end zone, but it's got to be something close to the sideline to step out of bounds.
But they're going to go for the field goal now. Coming in is going to be Travis Hansen, the younger brother of Jason. He's 8 of 13. Look at the penalties in this game. 9 in the first half, 17 total between the two. Bruce Bailey will come in and snap to Travis Hansen, the sophomore. He's the first scholarship kicker that Don James has had. He, of course, is out of Spokane. His longest this year has been a 43-yarder. This will be a 29-yard attempt. Eric Bjornsson, the third-string quarterback, will hold. With 8 seconds left, Washington trying to add to their advantage. Hansen's kick is on the way, and the kick is no good. Wide to the right.
It was hooking to the left, but just didn't hook soon enough.
And so with 4 seconds left, it still remains 28-7.
We've got a camera underneath the goal post. We'll take a look at it as Hansen, the younger, gets a foot into it, and you see right outside the goal post.
This guy's had some back trouble, Travis Hansen. In fact, he had to be replaced for a while in the kicking department, but they really like him, a sophomore. The Hansen family's got some good bloodlines when it comes to kicking the football, but didn't make the connection there. So Bledsoe now on what will probably be the last snap of the half, comes out throwing. The catch is made, and time has expired as Bobo came up with the grab. 28-7. We'll return with halftime activities after this message and a word from our ABC stations.
Any kind of bad position in terms of taking too many risks with a lot of blitzes.
Well, both teams really had a lot of penalties officially, each with 8. 8 for 85 yards for Washington State. The Huskies 8 for 79 yards. Washington State had won the toss. They deferred, so they'll get the kickoff to start the second half as Jason Crabb will kick off for the second-ranked team in the country, the Washington Huskies. Check Snager along with Pryor back. That'll go out of the back of the end zone. And at the 20-yard line, Washington State will set it up there. So Billy Joe Hobart, who was pressed into the starting role this year due to the injury to Mark Brunell, and he has answered, taking this team to now 30 minutes away from an unbeaten season.
Bledsoe coming in. He's kept the scoring streak alive for the Cougars. They came into this game having scored in 85 consecutive games. That streak starting back 1984 against Ball State. With the 7 points on the board, that makes it 86 games in a row.
So Bledsoe on the first snap comes out firing, and Bobo on the far side makes the catch. Looks like he's just short of the first down, a gain of 9. Dana Hall defending on the play, and so a beginning that may prove to be very promising for this Washington State team.
Well, you just have to keep plugging away at it, Gary. You know, when you go out in the ball game and you decide to really attack someone, you can't attack for a short while and just say, okay, now we'll be conservative. See Bobo going up. Nice job of keeping 1 foot in bounds there. Then you just have to stay with it, Gary. You can't give up on it even though you're in a bit of a hole.
Third catch for Bobo for 43 yards. From the 29, second and a yard to go. Wright Fair is in the backfield. Looked like he had a little trouble with the exchange, but he still got the first down. That was DeMarco Farr, who is a cousin to Mel Farr, the great who played at UCLA and in the NFL for many years, as Wright Fair picks up the first down. So you got to start somewhere, and that's a pretty good way to start the second half. 2 plays and a first down.
And talk about taking risks. For Washington State, just looking for something, trying to make something happen. Gary trying to throw up the timing. I think I might come out with a no-huddle offense, just to see if we can throw the Huskies off a bit.
Crips formation, 3 receivers to the near side. Bledsoe play action fake, stepping up and throws it behind Bobo. That was Dana Hall defending on the play. He had a lot of time to throw.
A lot of time to throw, stepped up in the pocket nicely, and unfortunately, the ball was thrown behind this receiver, allowing Dana Hall, the other number 5, Bailey being the other number 5 on offense, to make the play.
So Bledsoe that time really did a good job ball handling, drawing the defense with that play action fake. Shows you thus far the tendencies of Washington State. We said they were very effective running right at Washington early in the game. Over the middle, and that'll be a completion. And they're going to have a first down across the 50 as Butch Williams, the tight end, goes all the way to the 47 of Washington. That's a 21-yard gain. And Butch Williams, very quiet in the first half, comes up with his 30th catch of the year. His dad, Clancy, was an All-American at Washington State and played for the Los Angeles Rams.
Well, Clarence Williams here, or Butch as he's called, very versatile athletes, got some good moves, decent speed here. Kind of lumbers though when he runs.
6'2", 236. He does run well though. They've given him credit for about a 4.35 or a 4.440, which surprised me when they said that.
I can't believe he runs that fast, seeing that last play.
Wright Fair, maybe it's a deceptive speed, Len, as he gets maybe a yard. At the conclusion of today's game, we'll be selecting a Chevrolet Most Valuable Player of the Game from each team. And for the 21st year through the Chevrolet Scholarship Program, $1,000 will be donated to the General Scholarship Fund of each school.
Hey, if Clarence Williams runs that fast in the 40 right there, it's not deceptive. That's a master of disguise.
There they are. What is that? Sun Dodgers, the name of one of those Huskies. Aren't those beautiful animals?
Yeah.
Gain of 1 on the last play. 2nd and 9. Derek Sparks now in at the single running back spot. Trips formation top of the field. Bledsoe looking, and the rolling catch is made by Shane De La Cruz, and that's only his 2nd catch of the year. An 11-yard grab for the sophomore out of Evergreen High School in Seattle. A lot of guys from the Seattle area playing for the Cougars. It's about 285 miles from here to Pullman. They bust over about a 5.5-hour bus trip. And this team moving the football as they have a first down now just short of the 35. 3 receivers again to the top of the field. Bledsoe back, got time, now in trouble, steps away from trouble, and Donald Jones has got him from the backside. That's a 4th sack. There is a penalty flag. Nope, correction, there is not a penalty flag. As Jones coming from the backside, the ball coming loose, and he just really had enough time to throw the football. I was surprised how much time he was able to get. Ball is recovered by Bob Garman. Let's look at the ball.
Oh, he has a lot of time. Take a look at number 90. This might be one of the rare occasions you see this great ball player not having success, but he's double teamed and they just dust him. 48, Jones going the long way home, coming around from the outside, but Bledsoe just hung onto the ball too long.
Garman alertly pounced on it, a blitz up the middle, and a flag thrown as he tried to hit Williams, the tight end, and he took a real shot that time from far. Bledsoe getting up very shaky. DeMarco Farr firing up the middle of the field. It'll be holding against Washington State. So all of a sudden, they're going backwards.
Take a look at the kind of pressure we're talking about. You see a little swim move by Steve there. Farr coming straight up the middle, getting that shoulder in and driving him all the way back.
Well, that's a lot of weight to land on top of you. 265-pound Farr. Well, they were running their offense so efficiently.
Got to have a good back when you get hit like that.
Oh, man. They had the ball just short of the 35. Now, after all of this, it's 2nd and 28. Washington State started out 0-3. And then, with that 62-yard field goal against UNLV, they won that ball game. And their big wins against Arizona and Arizona State. Bledsoe back on 2nd and 28. That will not make a connection. Bobo, the intended receiver. Again, a lot of heat coming up the middle. Josh Moore, the cornerback, defending. That'll stop the clock with 12:04 left here in the 3rd.
That was a real good play by the secondary that time. You know, Bobo's trying to come inside on a bit of a post, like a quick post. Defensive back at nice position on the inside. He just couldn't make the turn.
Washington State leading the Pac-10 in passing yardage. Needs some yards here. 3rd and 28. Line of scrimmage before all this started happening was clear up at the 35. They need to get to the 25 for a first down. And they're at their own 47 right now. And that's not going to fool too many people. Yes, it will. Shambe right fair, bursts out of there and gets all the way to the 32. Dana Hall made the stop. Looked like they had him trapped in the backfield, and he bounced out and picked up 20 yards, but they're still 8 yards short of the first down.
Shambe just tucks in there. Looked like they had one man on Entman that time, and he's been driven back a little bit off the ball. I think he's surprised, Gary. He popped through, didn't see anybody there.
I know it. He was into that secondary in a hurry. He has 50 yards rushing in the game, and now here is a 50-yard field goal attempt for Jason Hansen. 50-yard attempt. The kick is on the way, and this kick is no good. So neither one of the Hansens have been able to convert field goals here today.
Bit of a high snap on that field goal attempt.
It's Paul Reed. Now, he has replaced Quinn Magnuson, who was hurt. He was the original snapper. Reed was the snapper. Boone Borden, the holder. And Jason Hansen from 50 yards out. He had enough leg on it, but it was wide.
It was interesting. During warm-ups, all 3 of them, when they were kicking the ball, Gary, and Hansen was kicking, all of them taking a great deal of pride, making sure that getting the snap, the hold, everything, trying to work it out to perfection.
And so the Huskies come back with Matt Jones, a fullback. Gain of a yard as Ray Hall, number 62, made the stop. We're talking about Ray Hall was really excited to come back. He's from O'Day High School in Seattle. He was pumped up to come back in here into the Emerald City to go against the Huskies. As we go inside 11 minutes now in the 3rd quarter, 28-7 Washington. Hobart now changing a play. 2 receivers to the top of the field. Billy Joe comes out throwing, and Bailey can't hang on. The deflection almost picked off that time by Ron Childs.
Michael Wright in on the coverage. Take a look. Obviously, Hobart sees something he thinks he can exploit. They're going for the quick slant behind another receiver going downfield. Ball just really bounces off his chest up in the air.
Thus far, Washington 5 of 8 on third downs. This is 3rd and 9. Hobart back on target, near side, and the catch is made across the 45 by Mario Bailey. Bailey has the first down. Torrey Hunter defending on the play. Pickup of 12 yards on the play. And now Washington putting it together.
A little touch of class. You saw that with the rose there, Gary. And we saw earlier that they were handing out roses, you know, at the beginning of this ball game. I'll tell you an interesting story about UCLA.
Just across the 45 now. Hobart on the option. And he's going to cut it up and take it to the 50. Go ahead.
You know, you start doing those things, and sometimes it comes back to haunt you. You know, you're handing out those roses, you're getting ready for the Rose Bowl, and you think everything is locked up. UCLA came in 1973. They were playing us, and it was for the Rose Bowl. And they went out and actually bought new jerseys. They had little roses embroidered on those jerseys as they came into the Coliseum. And then they had to take those jerseys home, not going to the Rose Bowl.
Well, last year they had some roses here when UCLA upset Washington and cost them a chance at the national championship. Here's Vino O'Brien on a 2nd and 6 close to the 45-yard line. Lynn, it must be something, though, to play in the granddaddy of all the bowls. You had that opportunity?
Certainly did, and you don't think that it's going to affect you the way it does. You come into that bowl, it just sweeps skyward, the mountains around you, 100,000+ people cheering. You're playing against a team like Ohio State that you've never played before, or Michigan. Big Ten reputation at stake versus, in my day, the Pac-8. And you really want to be at your best.
3rd and 2 now for the Huskies. Hobart gives off to Matt Jones, and he's got the first down. Matt Jones, the sophomore out of Portland. Well, we hope you'll be with us on Thanksgiving week. It all begins as Lynn and I will be in Pitt for the Penn State-Pittsburgh game. And then for the Orange Bowl, Oklahoma against Nebraska from Lincoln. And then wraps up on Saturday, Florida State. I'll tell you, that run and gun offense for the Gators will be awfully tough for the Seminoles. They'll have to be careful in that one. We'll bring along our producer, Jim Russell and Bill Webb, just for safety's sake, won't we? For that Turkey Day game. Here's a pass to freshman Mark Bruner, a true freshman out of Aberdeen, Washington. Boy, they think he's going to be a great player. 17-yard catch. He's only 18 years old and playing major college football. And there's Empton taking a blow. The farm kid from Cheney, Washington, which is close to the Pullman area. Everybody thought he'd play for the Cougars. Ended up for the Huskies, and of course Don James gained. First down now, just short of the 25-yard line. 8:42 left in the 3rd. 28-7 Washington.
Looks like Hobart's changing the play of the line.
He's going to deliver far side, complete to McKay, and McKay, who's having a big day, is stopped at the 21, a gain of 5 on the play.
What he's looking at, I think, Gary, as he splits those two receivers to the wide side of the field, the secondary is playing off those receivers. When you've got that big a cushion, you're talking about picking up easily 4 or 5 yards on the play. So he switches, he audibilizes out of it, throws it to the receiver to the outside, and picks up the easy yardage.
With that catch now, McKay has 5 for 110 yards. And of course, the big one of the day, a 69-yard touchdown. Hobart, pitch back to Bryant. Bryant to the 20. He's going to take it. He's in. Touchdown. And with a move like that, you see his quickness. Make that 21 yards for Bryant. Novell and Kennedy through the key blocks, and it's a 34-7 game.
Take a look at it right here. Look at Kennedy, number 75. Look at the big man move to the outside. Look at the blocks right there. Hole opens up, and it's just a sprint for Bryant.
Boy, they just mowed down people on that play. Point after attempt now by Hansen is right down the pike. 35-7. 67-yard drive, and the Huskies build their lead.
Ball
bids are on the line as Oklahoma battles their Big 8 rival Nebraska. It's CFA action Friday on an ABC College Football Special.
Pino Bryant, 21-yard gallop in the second half to make it 35-7 out of Dorsey High School in Los Angeles.
I'll tell you, with that scarf on his head and earrings, he looks like he should be a pirate in a movie called Hook.
What is that? Robin Williams and Dustin Hoffman are going to be in that?
Julia Roberts, Steven Spielberg.
And soon to be announced Lynn Swan, I'm sure. That'll be your next cameo appearance.
Oh, they already made the movie. I can't get in on it.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll talk to your agent. Graham ready to kick off now with 7:53 left in this third quarter. Pryor and Kexlater pound deep for the Cougars, I should say. And this is going to be Pryor. He's very dangerous, averaging over 26 yards a return on kickoffs. But this time, he's in a lot of trouble. Stays on his feet. Great effort, but doesn't go anywhere with it.
Yeah, he went somewhere, Gary. He went backwards, the wrong direction.
Well, he's trying to make something happen, and they really need that now. Lamar Lyons was the guy that got down there and got him. He had a 9-yard return, ended up with a 2-yard return as Lyons, a redshirt freshman out of Los Angeles, just stayed after him. There's that last drive. So with 7:45, Drew Bledsoe has a steep uphill climb.
Husky defense trying to get the crowd into this game a little bit. They've been very quiet.
From the 11-yard line, Wright Fair is the single running back. Bledsoe, quick hitch, can't find it. Sprinting out of there. He's got some running room. He's going to try to get rid of it anyway, and incomplete. And again, it looks like they're playing with more than 11 guys. They seem to have everybody deployed. Andy Mason, who was a linebacker, that they moved to that defensive end spot, which to me, as he wears number 13, is indicative of the commitment they made to speed, more than size on this football team.
Well, they went after some of the guys, a lot of kids in Southern California, some faster football players, and of course with the weight they do today in the workout room, you know, they're going to get the strength they need to play this game.
But that Stanford team, that'll be 7 in a row if they win that.
On that Bermuda grass.
35-7 to score here in favor of Washington. Second down 10. Here's Wright Fair, and Wright Fair is going to get a first down. Nice job of running. I like him. Dana Hall caught up with him over there. You can see why they really missed him when he had the ankle problems. That's an 11-yard run. Let's pause now 5 seconds and let our ABC stations identify themselves.
This is KOMO TV4 Seattle.
7:31 left in the third. I'm Gary Bender along with Lynn Swan. Second-ranked Washington beating interstate rival Washington State 35-7. Bledsoe with the first down is in trouble. That'll be the 5th sack of the game. And give that one to the guy we were talking about earlier, Andy Mason. So there's just no chance for Bledsoe. Also, Tyrone Rogers is in on the play. And they just get in your face so quickly.
Well, they come in and they're being blocked. And they continue to drive. They don't give up, as you said. Steve Entman, number 90, playing every down like it's his last one. Rogers driving through up the middle. Andy Mason taking advantage of the fact that sometimes these other guys are double teamed. Donald Jones coming around the outside. It's pressure, pressure, and more pressure.
And there it is, the pressure you're talking about. 5 sacks and 4 hurries. Second down and 17. Bledsoe gives to Wright Fair again. He gets a couple of 3 yards. Let's go to New York. Here's Roger.
All right, Gary, thank you very much. Let's get a clearer picture of the bowl picture right now as Georgia and Arkansas will be in the Pool and Weed Eater Independence Bowl here on ABC on the 29th. And then in the Freedom Bowl, it'll be Tulsa against the WAC runner-up, and that is San Diego State, because BYU won today. So it's Iowa and BYU in the Holiday Bowl, and then the Cotton Bowl, Texas A&M big today. They'll take on Florida State. That, of course, on New Year's Day. Let's go back to Gary.
Roger, thank you. Iowa 10-1 going to the Holiday Bowl. Back to throw is Bledsoe. Near side, catch is made. Chet Smager has it. He'll stay on his feet and has a first down across the 40 to the 41. That'll end up being a 23-yard gain on the play.
Looked like he would have been stopped earlier, but I think it was number 15, Tommy Smith, who came in and knocked his own player off Schexnayder on the catch.
Tommy Smith was the California Player of the Year his senior year. Was a running back when he first came here. Then they moved him to the secondary. And really last year started at free safety, then moved him to what they consider to be his natural position, that being strong safety. First down, out to the 41. So Drew Bledsoe, who was able to score way back in the first quarter, trying to get another drive goalward, and then Williams didn't see that one. Butch Williams, the intended receiver, thrown behind him. Tommy Smith again in on that play defensively.
That time they lined up. Gary didn't have a single back in the backfield.
Well, that was
quarterback.
That was what they told us. They want to get a lot of different looks, a lot of different motions, try to stretch them as much as they could across the field of play. But I tell you what, I don't know if you can stretch this team the way they run.
Well, you can stretch them, but the defensive front line coming in, you just can't stop them. You need some extra people in that backfield to pick them up.
Second down 10. Sean Bay carrying the ball and able to come out for a couple of yards, and that's all. There's Entman again, Brett Collins. Entman, his parents have a ranch in eastern Washington. Works very hard on that ranch, and a farm boy who has come to the big city and has won the accolades of the Seattle area, and for that matter, the entire nation, for his play.
Do they have a tractor, or does he just pull the plow by himself?
Probably pulls it by himself. Probably picks up the plow and points with it, yeah. Third down and 8. Bledsoe again, and Bobo makes the catch, and that'll be another first down. Josh Moore defending on the play. 9-yard gain on the play. So Bledsoe is getting a lot of work trying to somehow put the pieces back together for this Cougar football team.
Yeah, but those pieces of the puzzle are getting a little frayed with all the contact he's had to take.
Coming into the ball game now, substitution is Shane De La Cruz, who caught a ball earlier. He'll check in. He'll be split with 2 other receivers at the top of the field. First down at the 47 of Washington. Bledsoe almost didn't get that exchange made as Wright Fair pounds forward for a yard. Almost did not make the handoff as Tyrone Rogers made the stop. 67 yards for Wright Fair, and Washington kind of like a workmanlike job today, just thoroughly putting this game in control after trailing early in the game 7-6. A precision type job. Boy, this Husky team is impressive. Derek Sparks now comes in at fullback on a 2nd and 9 over the middle, and Bledsoe dumped backwards. Dave Hoffman came into his face. There he is. And Hoffman, they tell me when he gets on the football field, he is just intense. He loves to practice. Talking about he has that kind of mentality. Anybody comes in your area, even in practice, you got to be ready for him.
Yeah, it's another case. You know, he was starting, was injured. A guy named James Clifford came in. He got the starting job, was playing well. Clifford got hurt, went down. Gave Hoffman another chance, and he has not relinquished that starting position.
Not bad, huh?
No.
That's the kind of depth. We're going to have a timeout called now. Washington State. They'll stop the clock with 3:49 to go. It's Washington 35, Washington State 7. Back in a moment. We mentioned at the start of the game that Steve Entman is one of the 4 finalists for the Lombardi Award, and we wanted to take a look at the other 3 finalists. One of those we saw last week, Greg Skrepenick. And watch this decleater that he puts on Mike Pulaski of Illinois. 6'8", 322-pounder. The other one is from Florida State, Marvin Jones, and we'll show you that in just a moment, as well as Santana Dotson of Baylor. As Washington comes out after the timeout, should say Washington State, with a 3rd down and 9. Derek Sparks, the running back. Bledsoe is going to be sacked for the 6th time. Andy Mason. Now, another one of the finalists is sophomore Marvin Jones, an inside linebacker for the Seminoles. 6'2", 220-pounder from Miami. Playing on that Seminole team. And finally, Santana Dotson, a defensive tackle for Baylor, 6'5", 264, a senior from Houston. And then you add to that Steve Entman. Those are the 4 finalists. And here's Entman earlier today with one of his many outstanding plays. To punt the football will be Jason Hansen. Kind of a line drive affair, and Bean O'Brien calls for the fair catch at the 16-yard line. 33-yard return, and Entman and company with a 35-7 lead. Washington State has an outstanding tradition at quarterback. The throwing Samoan, Jack Thompson, Samoa, Mark Rippon, who's leading the Redskins to right now an unbeaten year, and Tim Rosenbaugh, who's out this year with injury, but will be back as a starting quarterback next year for the Phoenix Cardinals. So across the 15-yard line, Washington has the football. Billy Joe Hobart still the quarterback. Darius Turner the fullback, and that's Turner with the ball. He'll bring it out to the 20-yard line. Let's go to New York. Here's Roger Twibel.
Well, thanks, Gary. Cal at Stanford, and Stanford with the 17-7 lead. Mike Pulaski, the Golden Bears quarterback, to backup fullback Marty Holly. And watch the effort at the goal line, 32 yards for the touchdown, and it's now a 3-point game with about a minute to go in the third. Let's go back to Gary.
I tell you, Roger, Mike Pulaski will give it everything he's got. He is great in those kind of situations, trying to bring him back. Bean O'Brien wedges it out to the 23. Remember that UCLA game in the Rose Bowl? Looked like that game was over.
Arizona, they were behind, came back, won it on the last-minute drive. Now they've got Russell White, they've got Lindsey Chapman in that backfield, they've got Treggs, they've got Sean Dawkins there, a very strong offensive unit that can hurt you in so many ways. But I think Mike Pulaski just really ties them all together with his leadership.
Look at that on first down, the difference. Washington State as opposed to Washington in this game. Hobart comes out throwing. McKay couldn't come up with that one. That's one of the few miscues he's had. We've been updated by our producer Jim Ressler that Darren Pointer is out with a sprained ankle, will not return. And speaking of out right now, on his back is Hobart, getting up very slowly. He took a real shot from Ron Childs, and he's really shaky.
And Ron Childs came in and got airborne, trying to come over a blocker to get the pass and to get Hobart. He missed the pass, but he got Billy Joe.
That'll make your eyes a little blurry. Bobo going back now to receive the punt. John Wardell will punt it away for the Huskies. 1:58 left now in the third quarter. Almost blocked. The ball will take a sideways bounce, and the Huskies hit it, and they're going to kill the ball inside the 45-yard line. 32-yard punt with 1:46 left. Well, it'll be Michigan and Washington in the Rose Bowl, and here are two guys that'll really be fun to watch on New Year's Day. This is updated now as of this moment. Bailey with 60 catches. Desmond finished the regular season with 61. See the touchdowns. Bailey had one today. That's a Pac-10 record. And of course, Desmond Howard became the all-time single-season scoring champion for Michigan. And those are receiving touchdowns, 19. Of course, if you add up everything else, he goes over that. And the guy who probably put the final finishing touches on what should be a Heisman Trophy, Desmond Howard. And there's a ball that Bledsoe threw as he was being lifted up in the air and slammed down by James Clifford. Boy, is he taking a beating today. Oh. No, this has not been fun.
You come into a ball game, you know you're playing a tough team. You want to try and make some things happen. You say, well, we'll come in with a quick passing game, get the ball away, try and make some big things happen. And even in the quick passing game, he is just getting ripped.
Well, you come in here giving up 49 sacks. You know you're going to have trouble against Washington. They've given up 6 here today. I mean, that is a bunch. I think this guy in tough. He comes right back out, and he completes it to Bobo. It's a foot race to the goal line. Bobo to the 10-5 and knocked out of bounds by Pauakoa at the 3.
Gary, he was not covered. He was all the way out in the sideline. I think they just slipped Bobo out to the outside as if he may have been coming off the field, because the cornerback was not over the top of him. And there he is right there. And that ball, see, there's the cornerback way inside. He's probably thinking the ball is being thrown away. That's Jamie Fields, number 3, the linebacker, who was way inside. There was no cornerback over the top.
52-yard gain for Bobo. He now has 5 catches for 104 yards. 209 yards for Bledsoe. First and goal at the 3. And not much doing on that play for Derek Sparks, as Steve Entman was there, number 90.
Earlier in the ball game, in the first half, they had a 3rd and 1 situation.
Sparks is shaken up on the play. Sparks is down. And Harry's saying, now see, he was out there, you guys just didn't see him. And Sparks now has been shaken up. He's been hurt this year as well. This is the first time Washington State's been inside the 20. The other time they scored was on a 33-yard touchdown pass, you might recall. But Bobo, I tell you what, Pauakoa really caught up with him. I thought Bobo would be gone, but Shane Pauakoa, with a good angle, was able to stop him short of the goal line.
Well, he was the only hope they had. He's back at that free safety position. The cornerback, I don't know where the cornerback lined up at. He was not looking at Bobo, that's for sure.
So Sparks is down, this true freshman out of Santa Ana, California. And so we have a delay in the action, as it'll bring up a 2nd and goal. No gain on the last play. 2nd and goal from the 3-yard line. And Mike Price, concerned, will come on to the field.
Here's the final score.
Well, Monday night, the Rams and 49ers. The 49ers with Steve Bono now as their quarterback, as they await the return of Steve Young. And this Los Angeles team under Jim Everett has had a very disappointing year. But these two guys, they've always hooked up and had some great games through the years in that NFC West. And it all begins 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific.
Both teams, as you said, struggling. And recently I read where Jerry Rice was really complaining about not really being a part of the game plan, wanting to be more a part of it.
Yeah, he was insulted. He said that I'm not getting the ball more. So the 49ers finding out what it's like without Joe Montana, Steve Young, and now to Steve Bono. 2nd and goal just outside the 3. 1:14 left in the 3rd. Bledsoe's got a man clear, far side. Right fair makes the touchdown catch. So the 52-yard completion sets it up at the 3, 1st and goal, and Right fair on the receiving end of that pass. That's his first touchdown catch of the year.
Gary, they had to do it all right. A little bit of play action to hold the defense to what degree it could. Well executed play. You see Bledsoe doesn't even stop. He's still moving. Right fair gets out clear. As soon as he's open, he had to throw that football. He had coverage coming over the top.
Point after attempt now by Jason Hansen, and his kick is up, and the kick is good. 35-14. That drive didn't take very long. 40 seconds, 4 plays, 55 yards, and of course the 52-yard completion. Sean Bay Right fair. Kind of salving some wounds here today in what has been a long game thus far for Washington State. I think you're right, though, on that play to Bobo. I think they went to sleep on that play. They thought he was coming off the field. Maybe that was all those wrinkles that Mike Price had been thinking about.
Coming off the field and all the different formations and so forth that they were adjusting to. Like defensive back may have been on the far side. As I said, we did not even see him come out to cover the receiver at all. Wasn't even in the picture.
And so Mike Price's team still gamely trying to get back into this one, with 1:06 left to go.
Well, as you pointed out, Gary, it's a very young football team they have here from Washington State. Now they're in a tough match, you know, down 35-14. But what he wants them to get is a sense of having the talent to be able to compete and do some things successfully against his Washington team. Because next year the Huskies will come back and be just as strong.
Well, they have 5 seniors in the entire 22-man starting lineup. And one of those is on offense, 4 of them on defense. Kaufman and Jay Berry go back now to receive this kickoff from Hansen.
So that guy understands the Husky version of a Wolverine helmet.
Hey, an onside here. The flag on the play. It's recovered very alertly by Life Johnson. But what's the penalty flag all about?
Takes the kickoff. There's a penalty flag down.
Boy, it's awfully early, isn't it, to be trying an onside kick? 1:05 left in the 3rd quarter. I'm surprised.
Well, you're down 35-14. No indication of the Huskies letting up offensively or defensively. You have to make a move.
Here's the penalty.
Coachman, on a kicking team, penalty is declined. First down.
So they were offsides, and of course Washington will just take the football right there. 1:05 to go in the third. 35-14, the Huskies. Boy, I tell you, Don James, as they see the defense having a huddle, came in here with 142 wins, 15 straight winning seasons, 5th Pac-10 title. He's been in the Rose Bowl 4 times. He's won 3 of them, splitting with Michigan and beating Iowa twice. At the 48 is where they'll start this drive, as Beano Bryant gets inside the 45 and is knocked down there.
You know, Beano Bryant is only 178 pounds, and Don James said he was surprised. I mean, he has been remarkably durable for a guy who is not that big, and that was one of the question marks they had about him coming into this season. But he has righted all those. He has answered the questions. He's been hit, knocked around, hasn't missed.
Well, he's carried the ball 21 times today for 81 yards. That's pretty good durability, and that looked to me like Lincoln Kennedy lifted and moved, and that'll be an illegal procedure.
Yeah,
when he moves, you can't miss it.
Yeah, when he picks up the hand and starts to lean forward, forget about it. At 325, you know, when the momentum gets going, forget it.
I kind of felt the press box leaned, didn't you, when he did that?
Yeah, there's got to be a good cushion underneath this field.
This guy's a real sensitive guy. He is in drama. He is out of the San Diego area, and they were kidding him about his weight. He's been anywhere up to 335 pounds. They'd like to have him played about 315, a meager 315 pounds. Second down now, 11 yards to go after the penalty. 21 seconds left in the third. Billy Joe Hobart back again, and this one broken up and intercepted by Torrey Hunter. Boy, what a play that time. Hunter on the deflection, stayed with it. That was a great athletic move. I don't know how he stayed in bounds, made the catch and all of that. And now at the 44, Washington State has the football.
Well, they've been picking on Torrey Hunter just a bit. We told you the story earlier about Bailey having called his girlfriend saying that he could play in the same field with him. Hunter comes across, steps right in front of his nemesis Bailey there, blocks it, reaches back one hand, pulls it in, and then right there steps out of bounds.
You think he'll call Mario Bailey's girlfriend now?
If he has his number, her number, he might.
That is his 4th interception of the year. He had 3 of them against Arizona State, all of them in the 4th quarter. First down now. Bledsoe back, gets rid of it, and the catch is made, a rolling catch by Bobo at the 49-yard line, and that'll be the last play of the 3rd quarter. So after 3 quarters from Husky Stadium, the Huskies 35, the Cougars 14. We'll return with more action between Washington and Washington State after this message and a word from our ABC stations. Highway 520 coming in here to the Emerald City, and we have 15 minutes to go in this football game. Washington State trying to make some kind of a comeback here. Handoff comes off to Wright Fair, and he's got a first down. Inside the 45 to the 44, Hoffman and Collins make the stop. Gain of 7, and if they could get something out of this drive, it might get interesting.
Take a look at the stats here after the 3rd quarter. See where Washington still doing a great job in terms of the stats in the air. Rushing yardage starting to come up a little bit. Be interesting to watch how much it may come up in the 4th quarter as Washington tries to possibly control the ball on the ground, eat up some of the clock.
Washington State leading in plays and time of possession, which is kind of surprising. There's a quick hitch complete to Bobo, and he's inside the 35 to the 34, and that'll be another first down, a pickup of 12. Well, I tell you, Bobo is really quick, and that ball was there. It wasn't an easy catch to make, but he did it. Hoffman made the stop. Bobo now 7 catches, 121 yards. Of course, the big one was that 52-yard catch that set up the touchdown in the waning minutes of the 3rd quarter. I tell you, this is kind of a gritty, determined Cougar team, isn't it?
Well, they're not giving up.
14:20 left now in this 4th quarter. Final quarter of the regular season for the Huskies. In motion comes Wright Fair to the near sideline. Bledsoe's being flushed out of the pocket. He's got some running room. Tucks it under his arm, and he'll be marked out at the 27, a gain of 5. You know, that's the thing that surprised me watching film. is this guy, you don't think he can run very well, but he's not too bad. Tall, lanky, 6'5", sophomore from Walla Walla.
But as you noticed him running towards that sideline, a couple of purple jerseys bearing down on the inside. He wasn't going to try and take them on and get that first down.
And so now the line of scrimmage will be the 27. It'll be 2nd down and 5, a gain of 5 on the scramble. Chet Snager comes to the near side along with Kennedy and Bobo. 3 wideouts to the near side. Wright Fair goes in motion. So they have no running backs. He'll come set. Bledsoe looking, being chested out of the pocket, double pumping. He's going to run, now going to throw, end zone, intercepted. It's picked up by Tommy Smith. Here comes Smith. He's out to the 40. He could go. He could go all the way. This is his first interception of the year. He's to the 15, to the 10, and tackled at the 9.
Gary, I think he was looking for Calvin Checksnader, who was in the end zone, number 6. In the scramble, it looked like he was going to pop open.
That will be an 86-yard interception return. As I mentioned, that is the first interception of the entire year for Tommy Smith.
Take a look. There's a big scramble going on. Excuse me, that was Olobia. He was trying to reach in the end zone. Scramble got open. The ball was just thrown low. Now watch it, Tommy run. Look at that. Look at that back straighten up, Gary. Oh, those muscles are getting tight. And there we go. Checksnader coming in, running him down.
86 yards. That is the 5th longest interception return in Washington history.
And while they're congratulating, I know those ball players, the Washington Husky team, are kidding him about being caught from behind.
Looked like something jumped on his back there at the end, didn't it?
Yeah, a bear.
Not to mention a couple of cougars a little bit later. Bobo and Checksnader were the guys that caught up with him. 1st and goal at the 9. Pitch to Bryant. Bryant running wide. 5. Bryant diving. He's short as he goes head over heels. Torrey Hunter playing tough defense. Met him at the goal line. 2nd and goal from the 1. There is a flag, however, back at the 5-yard line.
Number 85, Mark Bruner, the tight end.
Holding against Washington. Well, I tell you, Bryant wanted that one, didn't he?
He sure did. Starting to say Mark Bruner, number 85, was really blocking hard on that play. I don't know if that was him called for the holding, but it really seemed to have the great block to free Bryant. We'll take a look at it right here. You see 85 right there. He's driving his man back right there, all the way back into the backfield. And watch Bino. Up. No way.
Boy, I tell you, Torrey Hunter straightened him up and helped arrive. I tell you that Mark Bruner, you were talking about him, a freshman, he has really blocked well today. And I watched him in a game last week against Oregon State through a couple of blocks. He's just a true freshman. See why they're so excited about him. Penalty now makes it 1st and goal from the 16-yard line. 13:35 left in the game. Near side split out is McKay. They go to the far side and they complete the pass to Mario Bailey, and he'll be stopped at the 7-yard line. Gain of 9. He's got to be approaching 73 yards now with 65. He needs 73 to become the all-time leading receiver in a season yardage-wise.
I watched him when they lined up. Orlando McKay was lined up at the bottom, Gary. The cornerback had him in inside technique, trying to make sure that he didn't come inside in the post. If I were a receiver, I'd go back and tell him that. Man-to-man coverage, drive him inside like on the post, then come back out for the flag.
Did you tell Terry Bradshaw that a few times?
I used to tell him all the time.
2nd down goal now from the 7. Hobart back again. Dumps it and drops. Bryant trying to make a move before he had the ball at the 5-yard line. It'll be 3rd and goal from the 7. Tomorrow on ABC Sports, we'll be in New York at the famed Madison Square Garden for the ultimate showdown in women's tennis. Martina Navratilova and Monica Seles get ready for the finals of the Virginia Slims Championships. Live coverage begins at 1 Eastern, 12 Central, and 12:30 Pacific tomorrow on ABC.
Yeah, Martina, all the records, facing one of the young superstars in Monica Seles.
Jay Barry comes into the backfield on 3rd and goal from the 7 on the corner, near side, wide open. Bailey! Did he get it? He did. Touchdown. Oh, what a laid out catch that was. Seven-yard touchdown.
Take a look at Bailey. A little move to the inside. He cuts between a couple of people. Oh, John Rushing, number 10, was the man he beat. He got completely turned around. Look at how he lays out for this catch.
Beautiful
Perfect.
job. That's
Perfect.
his second touchdown catch of the day. Now he needs 1 yard. He's 1 yard short of the season yardage record with that catch. 7 for 72, 2 touchdowns. It's 42-14, Washington. Mario Bailey was 17 touchdown catches on the year. Boy, that was something pretty. We're just talking, doesn't he remind you a little bit of Desmond Howard? Some of those catches they make.
Laying out for the ball, giving everything he has. That touchdown apparently ties the record for touchdown scored in the season here.
Hugh McElhaney was one of those, the outstanding running back who had 17 in a year. Here comes Pryor running out with his ball. And he's not going to get to the 20-yard line. Life Erickson or Life Johnson over there. 15-yard return for another update. Here's New York and Roger Twibel.
Well, thank you very much, Gary, and it's looking awfully good for Stanford right now as their fine young quarterback, Steve Stenstrom, from the 5-yard line, a little play action. He finds his tight end, Ryan Wetnight, for the touchdown, and the Cardinal leads Cal 31-14 with over 5 minutes to go in Palo Alto. Let's go back to Gary.
Wow. Whoa. They went to Stenstrom. They haven't lost since when he started taking over quarterback. We had a personal foul on both teams on this last kickoff. So we have offsetting penalties. And the Washington Husky flag making the turn.
He's trying to stay up with the wave.
Well, he's in, that's the traveler that USC uses in
the poor man's traveler.
Yeah.
Because I can't call the Huskies the poor man's football team. They're going to the Rose Bowl.
Bledsoe back to throw, trying to hit the man over the middle underneath, and big hits put on Hoffman and Dana Hall, and the ball falls incomplete as Bobo took some punishment on that play.
You know, I said earlier this crowd has not been very vocal. Don James was telling us the crowd really hasn't been up a lot in terms of volume this year. I believe it's because they have the greater expectations of this football team coming into the 91 season.
But they've also beaten some teams very soundly where
yes.
They haven't been that critical. And right now, the pretty convincing lead of 42-14. Second down 10. Bledsoe throwing off his back foot to Kennedy. He makes the catch. Albert Kennedy, the freshman, to the 40, to the 35. I'll tell you, Bledsoe's putting a lot of numbers up in this game now with these long completions. Pauakoa and Bailey finally catch up with Albert Kennedy, and that's a 48-yard catch.
Well, they just keep going after it. Albert Kennedy coming up with a catch. Only had 2 catches for 27 yards coming into the season. Josh Moore, number 7, is the man he's going against. Moore makes a mistake of going for the football, but not going 100% for it. Tried to throw his arm out there, Gary, instead of getting his body in front of the receiver.
So Kennedy with that catch, giving Bledsoe for the day now 277 yards passing, 15 of 29. Inside 12 minutes, and Bledsoe's going to call a timeout. So the Cougars will stop the action. They have 1 timeout left. Washington 42, Washington State 14. Back in a moment. Well, you look at the teams and the tough schedules they played. Florida State and Florida, who will meet a week from today. You can see top 25. Florida State played the most of them. Michigan with 4, Washington with 3, Miami with 3. And Michigan and Washington will tangle New Year's Day. Boy, I'm looking forward to watching that one. 11:56 in this one left to go. First down now for Washington State. They called the timeout. They have 1 remaining. Kennedy comes in motion to the near side. Bledsoe getting some protection and overthrowing. Butch Williams, the tight end, at the 15-yard line. That'll stop the clock with 11:50 to go in the game. Look at this. Cowell now has scored 31-21. Look at A&M, 65 points. Syracuse, so tough in the Carrier Dome. In fact, they've handed Florida their only loss this year, earlier this year in the Carrier Dome. Second down 10. Hand off to right fair, and he has the ball stripped, and I think one of his own teammates got it. Jim Eicher, number 72, the offensive tackle, didn't even miss a beat. He got that ball as though he's expecting it to come loose, recovered it, and they have the line of scrimmage at the 21. Ends up being a 13-yard gain.
Jim Eicher with a front row seat on that play, picking up that loose ball. You see Wright coming through, right fair coming through. Right there, the arm just ripped. 21, Shane Paukoa.
Boy, he makes things happen, doesn't he, Paukoa? Yeah. Most improved player on defense, Jim Lambright, the defensive coordinator, told us. Bledsoe deep drop this time, throwing near side. Bobo broken up nicely by Dana Hall. Oh, that was pretty. All right, let's go to New York again. Here's Roger.
Well, thanks, Gary. We might be in store for one of those great California Stanford finishes because Mike Pulaski has hit Sean Dawkins. Look at the catch right there from 8 yards out with 4:48 left to go in the game now. It's a 10-point difference, 31-21. Stanford has the ball at midfield. Gary.
Wow, a lot of offense.
If they come back with that amount of time left, 10 points down, it's I don't know if they'll ever make it home.
That has been a great series. First time in a long time. Both teams ranked in the top 20 going after each other. Second down 10 on an air miss a moment ago. Dana Hall with a good play. Hand off to right fair, getting to the outside. Look at the quickness of this guy. And he has a first down, it appears, as he goes out of bounds at the 10. This guy has really shown some bursts of brilliance. You can see why they're so excited about him. 20 carries now, 94 yards, and it is a first down. Shambe. What I read, that means the heart of a lion. Isn't that what that means, Shambe?
Well, he's playing with a great deal of heart today, and you know, you can see what he may be able to give this team in the future in terms of the ground attack, Gary, the stability, put the ball in the air, hand it off to him with his speed to the outside, making teams really respect the entire football field.
His high this year is 168 yards against Fresno State. First down from the 10. Give to right fair again. This time, nothing doing. The purple gang was there.
Well, it's a real late flag.
Yeah, clear on the far side.
Yeah.
Jaime Fields also there on the stop, and it's going to be what? Delay a game. They didn't get the ball snapped in time. The play clock had expired.
Well, for what they got up on that last play.
Penn State Pitt. Tony Sacca, Alex Van Pelt, Oklahoma, Nebraska. That's always been a classic coming from Lincoln. And then Florida State, Florida. Talk about offense. You get the Seminoles and the Gators together, they may put some points on the board.
I'll tell you, I've always liked to watch the teams coached by Steve Spurrier. He has always done a tremendous job. The offense has really been high profile, very effective, very efficient.
That was evening up the penalties, both with 10 now. There's a pass in there for Bobo. He got it. Philip Bobo with a juggling catch, and he gets Dana Hall, and Hall really upset.
And a flag.
Yeah, and flag's coming. We may have a demonstration penalty again. Dana Hall kicked the pylon into the air, so disgusted that he let Bobo get behind him for the touchdown.
Well, they had the blitz coming, Gary. Huskies were really coming after him. Drew Bledsoe read it, had that fade pattern call, popped it up into the air.
I think, from what we understand, our spotter Joe Sullivan tells us that Bobo threw the ball into the stands, and that'll be an automatic penalty. Let's see if we can find him doing it here on this replay.
You see a little move right there. He gets a cushion to the outside. Ball very well thrown to the outside. He goes out, makes a catch. There's nothing Hall can do about it.
Hall had made a fine play on him earlier, batting it away, but this time he comes back. 8 catches for 136 yards for Bobo.
Gotta tell Bobo throwing the football in the stands is a no-no.
That is a no-no. So they will penalize him on the kickoff. That was a 15 yard touchdown strike. 7 plays, 82-yard drive. Took a minute and 35 seconds. Well, that interception by Tommy Smith looks awfully big right now, doesn't it?
Sure does.
Washington State will now attempt the point after, and Hansen kicks it right down the middle. 42-21. 11:04 left to go. In 1981, the 16th-ranked Washington Huskies met 5th-ranked Michigan. And Michigan wide receiver Anthony Carter caught a 70-yard touchdown pass. And Stan Edwards' 1-yard touchdown run helped the Wolverines score 16 second-half points on their way to a 23-6 victory, and Bo Schembechler's first victory in the Rose Bowl.
I wonder if Bo's going to go out to Pasadena for that game.
I don't know. If he isn't, he'll be watching it awfully closely. From the 20 after the penalty, kicking off will be Hansen, and it's going to be Kaufman returning it, and takes a pretty good shot, stays on his feet, and somehow gets up to the 40-yard line. We may get to see more number 8 today, and he'll be something to watch. Well, let's go back and update what happened. Orlando McKay, 69-yard touchdown pass. They missed the point after. Nolobia made it 7-6 with a 33-yard catch. Turner on a 4-yard reception, his first touchdown catch of the year. Bailey returned a 37-yard interception. The other Bailey, Mario Bailey, 20-yard touchdown catch. Imy Fields with a safety on Bledsoe. Then Bino Bryant with a 21-yard touchdown run. Wright Fair from 3 yards on a touchdown catch, and Bailey a 7-yarder, and we come back to the live action. Bryant takes it out of bounds. And then moments ago, Philip Bobo, 15 yards out, 42-21. A lot of offense in this game, and we still have almost 11 minutes to go in the 4th quarter. It's getting dark here, isn't it? That is the first win of the year for the Beavers of Oregon State.
Well, they have bragging rights now.
Yep.
For the state of Oregon, if nowhere else.
From the 44-yard line, 2nd down and 6 now for the Huskies. This is Bryant still carrying the ball, and here he goes to the outside.
And there he goes.
They may not catch him, will they? Yes, they do. And I'll tell you, Pryor caught him from behind, and that shows you the kind of speed Anthony Pryor has. They say he runs a 40 in 4.23, and I believe it, because he caught Bino Bryant from behind.
Now take a look. And here's the danger of having someone with this kind of speed. You decide you're just going to grind it out. He pops loose from a pile of people there, and then it's a sprint to the outside. Now he's already got a full head of steam going, and just look at Pryor coming in from behind. Just reaching out and grabbing him.
Boy, he just overhauled him, didn't he?
Sure did.
We have a personal foul now, I think, against Washington State. That was a 39-yard run, and look at the numbers on Bino Bryant. That's not his best of the year. He had 158 yards against USC. The men of Troy had a tough time stopping him earlier this year.
And they sure did. He took that ball the first drive. What was it, 55 yards, right up the middle, touchdown.
So they're going to have half the distance to the goal on this personal foul. They'll mark it just inside the 9-yard line. 10:43 left. Matt Jones, Jay Barry in the backfield. Here comes Barry, and there goes Barry for the touchdown. For Jay Barry, his 10th touchdown of the year. Got a big block from the freshman again, Bruner, the tight end, and Rongan, the guard, number 72.
Well, here comes number 42, Jay Barry, a dog on the loose. Gets to the hole. Now they're making it look pretty easy, Gary.
Travis Hansen to add the point after, and the scoring onslaught continues. 60 yards in 3 plays. 49-21. We have a penalty flag. We'll sort that out when we come back. Well, Don James Group is the James gang is putting this game away. Now we have a new Apple Cup record for total points scored. 70, breaking the record set last year when they scored 65 points. Washington defeating Washington State 55-10. There's that old dog bone. They've been selling those. They're all over the place.
Yep, and we've got 10 minutes and 37 seconds yet to be played in the fourth quarter.
You think we'll have the dog bone chop before the day is over?
I tell you, I don't know about that. But there's a
we had another penalty, by the way, if you're keeping track. We may have a record here before the day's over on penalties. Washington State, Mike Swanson indicating to us, has 12 penalties for 124 yards. Washington not far behind, 11 for 109 yards. Last drive didn't take very long, did it? 27 seconds. I tell you what, if we keep playing this game much longer, we may not be able to see this game. It's really getting dark here. Turn the lights on. Here's Kraft kicking off. Pryor will return this one. And he's going to make it out to about the 32. All right, to New York once again. Here's Roger.
Well, Gary, we told you the story earlier about George Perlis being removed as head coach, will remain as athletic director. Third quarter, this punt is fumbled by Camino Bell of Illinois, and Darren Eaton of the Spartans will run it in 24 yards for the score. It broke a 10-10 tie. Michigan State went on to win it for Perlis 27-24, and it's still up in the air. Will George be the coach? Will he be the AD? He won't be both. Let's go back to Gary.
So from the 32 is where we come here. Thank you, Roger, for that update as we have 10:30 left to go in this one. A real defensive struggle here. Bledsoe back to throw, setting up a screen far side to right fair, and he may have gotten back to the line of scrimmage, and that's all. Chico Fraley running over there to make the stop. And Stanford with a 38-21 lead. I'll tell you, Dennis Green and that Stanford Cardinal team has really put it together. They will be a handful next year because they got a lot of those guys back.
And here's a real barn burner. UCLA 3, USC nothing.
You're not interested in that outcome, are you?
Nah.
Second down 10. Look at the numbers here. Both quarterbacks putting up some numbers, aren't they? Bledsoe is going to be sacked again. There's a penalty flag. That would be 7 sacks. Brett Collins just drove his man back into Bledsoe that time. There's Brett Collins, senior, who started last year, then lost his starting job to Jaime Fields. He broke his ankle in the summer and had to have a plate put in that ankle, and he's never gotten the starting job back. But he could be starting a lot of places. Another penalty. Out of Portland, he was a running back there, the offensive player of the year his senior year in the state of Oregon. 7 sacks for Washington. Washington State has not registered 1. Look at the hurries as well. Interceptions. So the #1 ranked defense has not disappointed. As you could hear, that is a holding call against the Huskies, so that will take the sack away as they take the penalty, and it gives them 6 sacks instead of 7. Second down, 28 yards to go, just inside the 14-yard line. Bledsoe throwing, and Chexnigger makes a catch, and the ball comes loose. I think it'll be ruled a completion and a fumble recovery by the Cougars. Steve Wolf, the center, number 76, came up with it.
Calvin Chexnigger almost had his head taken off on that play. Looked like they were trying to use it.
And Wolf
like
looks
a twist cap.
Yeah, it looks like Wolf kind of paid for that one when he came up with a fumble recovery. Those are the ones that are idle today in the top 25. Of course, we'll have Florida State and Florida a week from today here on ABC. Bob Garman is also shaken up. He's come out of the ball game. The senior tackle for Washington State. 3rd and 25 now for the Cougs. 49-21 Washington. Bledsoe and broken up. That was Entman. Now that shows you something there. On a passing play to have that kind of reaction, Lynn, and get back and get a hand on the ball.
Well, I'm telling you. I'll tell you who it's going to be a tough day for. Number 61, Josh Dunning, young guard for this Washington State Cougar team, having to face the likes of Entman and Rogers all afternoon. Mason.
Well, that bus trip of 5.5 hours back will be a long one for a guy like Dunning after what he ran into today. Jason Hansen, low snap, and they almost got it, and they did get a piece of it. And let's see where they're going to mark this one. Looked like Fraley deflected it. It'll end up being a 20-yard punt as they're going to mark the ball at the 37-yard line of Washington State.
Well, folks, you would think the score being 49-21, 8:56 to go in the game, this Husky team might lay back just a little, but you can see from them rushing the punter, they're not going to give up an inch in this Apple Bowl or Apple Cup.
Well, they're going to bring in Brunell for the second time today. Not a bad situation. The MVP of the Rose Bowl is your backup quarterback. I tell you, though, what a character guy he is. Battling back from injury and being such a team guy. Here's Berry carrying the ball. He'll take it still on his feet. The whistle, I guess, hasn't blown as he's still fighting for yardage. That's the kind of runner he is. He just will stay after you. Really a tough guy. Not very big, but tough. Westfield and McClanahan and Rushing were trying to drag him down. Barry's dad was quite a football player. Odell, he played for the Broncos. In fact, I understand that Jay and his brother Damon, who is a freshman redshirt wide receiver, went through an extensive workout this summer. Odell put them through the paces, and I guess they came in great physical shape. Second down and 5. Pitch to Berry. Berry following a convoy, cuts it inside the 20 to the 18. Boy, they had some blue shirts running out there looking for people to hit. Lewis Bush eventually tackled him, a 15-yard gain.
Anyone who follows the game of football will tell you the things that have really changed the most in this game is not necessarily the size of players, but the speed at which this game is being played nowadays. A lot more people with speed you only associate with track playing the game of football. And when you've got a guy with that kind of speed like Bino Bryant, then you don't need as big a hole, especially when he knows what to do with it. You make the hole, he just rushes right through it, and he's gone.
Well, Bino Bryant ran on the Washington 4x400 relay team. Here comes Berry, and Berry will take it inside the 15. And Orlando McKay was a track man. It just goes on, and that's the final in the big game from Palo Alto. Stanford winning their 7th straight, defeating California, only their 2nd loss. Their only other loss was to these Washington Huskies in the game that was played in Berkeley earlier this year.
The Bay Area brawl.
Boy. 436 yards in offense for Washington. 390 for Washington State. That's 826 yards of offense. We still have 7 minutes to go. There's a halfback option. A throw back to Brunell, but just couldn't quite get that one together.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. Jay Berry is not a quarterback to any degree.
Odell will put him through the paces this summer. He'll try to improve that part. Brunell.
He's smiling about it.
Yeah.
That's his last shot. Hey, Gary, here's something interesting. I think for Washington, not only they're playing very well, but I think they do want to have a lot of things shown in this game.
Yeah.
Because if this is one of the games that Michigan is going to have to look at to get prepared, they want them to think about as much as possible.
Well, Gary Moeller could be watching this game. It's being piped back to Ann Arbor. Here's almost an interception. Lewis Bush would have gone all the way. There was absolutely nobody between him and the goal line. By the way, congratulations to Gary Moeller and the Michigan Wolverines as they won outright that Big Ten championship and on their way to the Rose Bowl. Bush is looking at his hands saying, oh, I may never get another crack like that.
Yeah, but I got a feeling he would have been caught from behind.
You think?
I think so. He would have got a jump. I think he would have got at least to the 40, maybe the 30-yard line, but they might have chased him down.
29-yard field goal attempt now. Travis Hansen, he missed a 29-yarder earlier, and this kick is on the way, and it's no good. Boy, the Hansen brothers have had a tough day today kicking. So that one is wide. That'll stop the clock with 6:55 to go.
Don James said he tried to recruit Jason Hansen, the kicker from Washington State, wanted him to come to the team as a walk-on, but then Jason decided, no, I'm going to go stay in Spokane, go to Washington State. But then his younger brother came along, showed the same kind of ability and talent, gave him a full scholarship.
You know, it'd be awfully hard, I would think, for Travis to follow Jason in a situation like that in the same school.
Yeah, that would be tough.
Mark Pattison now is the new quarterback for Washington State, a sophomore out of Idaho, and a flag thrown as he tries to take the snap. This guy was quite a high school player in Moscow, Idaho. Well, we talked about Jason Hanson. Let's go back to the game with UNLV when he kicked the longest field goal on September 28th without a kicking tee in the history of the NCAA. And here it is, 62 yards by Hanson.
Certainly a young man who can play in the professional ranks with that kind of accuracy. Had the 3.6 GPA pre-med, and is also the recipient of an NCAA grant for his academic and football work. $18,000, and the coach said, I think here's a young man who will definitely use that because he does want to become a doctor.
Paul Carr is now the running back. As Pattison comes out throwing, Bobo had it for a moment, stripped from his person by Dana Hall. You know, you look back at Jason Hanson. What's amazing about him, he had 39 field goals at 40+ yards, 20 field goals at 50+. Both of those are NCAA records, and looks like the Bruins are beating up on the Trojans now, 10-0. Holy Cross unbeaten for the year, 28-3 over Colgate.
Gary, they talked about the rule changing the width of the uprights, what that would do to it. I still think the fact that when they said the kicked or field goal attempt to come back to the placement of the ball and not the 20-yard line has had a greater effect on college kicking than anything else.
Madison hands off to Carr, and you can hear the crowd groan. As a big hit. I think that's Clifford. James Clifford, who led this team in tackles in '89, then was out all last year with a knee injury, out of Seattle, and a guy who loves to practice. I know in talking to Jim Lambright, he says he's a throwback. He goes out there and he loves to practice, and not really, I guess, that important, but he says that he loves to have him around. He inspires the team, and lost that starting job, but hasn't lost a great attitude. 3rd and 15 now. 6:05 left to go in the game. Pattison, Mike Pattison, is in trouble, and that will be the 7th sack. As Entman and Fields are back there, and Steve Entman just continues to mount those statistics. He came in here with 17.5 tackles for loss and 6 sacks, and he's added to that total today. Boy, has he been impressive.
You know, coming into this game, the most tackles any one player has made for this Husky defense has been 10. Entman was one of those. Hoffman and then Hillary Butler. Back up to Chico Fraley at linebacker.
Comes the snap, and they may have gotten a piece of another one. It wasn't well kicked anyway. Hanson gets the roll, and it'll come out to the 45-yard line. I don't know if they hit that or he just hit the side of it. Ends up being a 38-yard punt. And here is another penalty flag. You thought I was kidding about if it's gotten too dark? It is really dark now.
It is very dark. And the fans are, most of them, Gary, are hanging in here.
It's against Washington State on a dead ball foul, so we'll sort this one out. Unsportsmanlike call, it appears, against the Cougars. Mike Price wants to know who it's against and why. 5:12 to go. Indiana with that big win. We talked about George Perlis winning today. Wisconsin over Northwestern. Kansas defeating the Tigers of Missouri in the 100th meeting between those two schools. Kansas State, what a year they had. So they're going to bring this back, and penalty-wise now, Washington State, 15 penalties, 154 yards. Washington, 11 penalties, 109. That'll be something Don James will address, don't you think? Trying to find something to prepare for as they get ready for the Rose Bowl. At the 31 now is where they'll start the drive. Brunell pitching off to Jay Berry. Berry running wide. Pryor's over there to make the tackle. And there's another flag.
Piling on.
You know, this game may never end. The way they're going with the penalties and stoppage of clock.
Running out of bounds.
Personal foul, unsportsmanlike conduct against Washington State again. Let's look at it here.
You see the hit right here. Oh, a little face mask right there.
Yep, quite obviously.
When he goes down, he'll be sliding out of bounds. A few more guys jumped on him.
And Mike Price wants a timeout. If he can get the attention of his troops, and he did. So Washington State calls timeout, 5:06 to go.
And he desperately wants to have a conversation with someone or several people. I think he wants a whole team over.
Let's take a break. The Huskies on their way to their 11th win of the year. Washington State just used their final timeout. In checking the record book, Washington State still has a ways to go to set a new record for penalties in the game. In 1970, they committed 19 penalties for 195 yards against Idaho. Here today, they have 16 for 169. As Brunell giving off to Darius Turner, the fullback. He's to the 15-yard line as we go inside. 5 minutes to go in this game. 49-21, Washington. And again, looking ahead. I know Lynn and I are looking forward to the Penn State-Pittsburgh game. I'm really looking forward to it because Lynn's going to cook Thanksgiving dinner for me when we come to Pittsburgh. And Oklahoma, Nebraska, and Florida State, Florida will wrap up the Turkey Day as well as the Turkey Week.
Yeah, well, you know, I have all my family recipes for.
I know, you're quite a.
And my in-laws are coming, so that'll be interesting.
A culinary expert. Here's Brunell, and Brunell, who they say has lost some speed with that serious knee injury, showed some pretty good quickness there. You know, he at one time ran that 40 in about 4.5. You can see the heavy brace if you look down on that right leg.
Yeah, and that's going to slow him down just a bit. They say his extension is only at about 90%. Now, if you pick any one position on a football team that can afford to, shall we say, lose a little speed, you know, and when I say lose a little, 4.8 isn't bad if that's where the speed is now. It's at quarterback.
He rushed for 444 yards last year. Throws it over the middle, complete to Bruner, the freshman, and he's at the 5. It'll be a 1st and goal.
What you saw there, a pass thrown by Brunell that was all arm. And what did Don James tell us? He said as a result of that injury, he thinks maybe his arm developed. He's got a little bit better. Or was that Gilbertson, the offensive coordinator?
Yep.
So he's really developed a better touch on his arm, a better ability to throw the football. And it showed right there.
Boy, what a luxury to have. Hobart and then to Brunell. Two different kind of quarterbacks and each effective in their own way.
I'll tell you, when Brunell got hurt at practice, the guy who took it really badly was Donald Jones because he came in, it was a non-contact drill, and Brunell got squeezed between Entman and Jones.
Here's Brunell and running real well, brace and all on the option for the touchdown. Well, that matches the 55 points of last year. And they can go over it now on the point after.
Now take a look. Big line out in front. They're running the option. He can pitch it right here, but there's a man covering the option, the pitch man. He takes it in.
I think it's great this guy's having that success, battling back from that severe injury, having his moment in the sunlight, which is now not even evident here, but certainly doing a commendable job attitude-wise and ability-wise, and now has made it a 56-21 game with still 3 minutes and 50 seconds to go.
Well, the sun may not be shining here, but Huskies know they're going to be headed towards that sunshine in Pasadena on December 20th, getting ready for that Rose Bowl matchup against Michigan. Now, I can't wait, Gary. I mean, the matchups that we're going to see in that Rose Bowl are going to be phenomenal. Skrepenick on that offensive line for Michigan, going against an Entman.
Desmond Howard and Mario Bailey, their ability to catch the football.
And Elvis will be there.
Yep. Gerback, Hobart. Got the quick running backs. You got the running backs of Ricky Powers and Jesse Johnson, Tyrone Wheatley, and then of course you have the Bryants and the Berries here. Two very well coached teams, and it should be something special. January 1st. 3:50 to go here. Grab kicking off. I wonder if they can see him at the other end of the field. He hit this one really well. Pryor will come over, let it go into the end zone, and they'll bring it out to the 20-yard line. There they are, the Huskies. See, Sun Dodger is the older of the two. Let me see, I got some information. Andrea Bryant, who does everything in our booth here for us, says Sun Dodger is an 11-year-old who retires this year after 11 years as a mascot. He's replaced by his puppy, King Redoubt, who was named after a volcano in Alaska.
Well, Redoubt went off a couple of times, and I was up there covering the Iditarod in 19.
That's right. You had a few Huskies up there, didn't
90?
you?
Yeah, we had quite a few, but you don't have to worry about Sun Dodger. Susan Butcher, Rick Swinson, Joe Runyon.
Oh, come on.
They won't have him come up there and have to pull a sled.
Patterson double pumping, and he probably should have thrown it. He's in trouble. Gets rid of it, and incomplete. I tell you, Patterson was running for his life there. Yeah, the old Iditarod. DeMarco Farr was the guy that put the pressure on that play, along with about 6 other Huskies.
They had some French poodles, some standard poodles in that race one year too, Jared.
Second down, 10 from the 20. I don't even have a reaction to that.
I know you don't.
3 wide outs, the top of the field, as Patterson now will hit Bobo, and Bobo one-on-one gets a first down out to the 34-yard line. Russell Hairston made the stop. Well, the executive producer of ABC Sports is Jack O'Hara. The coordinating producer of ABC's college football is Bob Goodrich. Today's game produced by Jim Ressler, directed by Bill Webb. Averill Perry, our technical director, my buddy down there in Santiago in Cuba. He kept me alive down there. Our associate director, Vince D'Addario. And we're going to recognize some more people, as it's been a long day here, but kind of an interesting day. Watching these Huskies, certainly living up to their number 2 ranking coming in here.
Making a case for number 1.
And that ball on the far side, complete to Dela Cruz, Shane Dela Cruz. Arthur Budagian is our unit manager. Technical operations manager is Les Weiss. Russell Brooks and Ronit Larone, the assistants to the producer. Our statistician, who's headed for Hawaii after today, Mike Swanson. He didn't want to go to Pittsburgh with us next week. Our spotter is Joe Sullivan.
And I'm sending a letter to the Chamber of Commerce about you, Mr. Swanson.
Yeah. Sullivan coming back, the one-legged guy here from injury. As we now have a 2nd down and 7. Patterson. And this will be Chexnader. Did he get it? Nope. Bounced it to him. Also, Brian Gordon and Braxton Banks, the Fighting Irish guy. Our computer statisticians, our booth coordinator, Andrea Bryant. I'll tell you what we would do without her, Lynn. And our sideline coordinator, Doug Johnson, who I would imagine. Can you see him down there? Yeah, if you see him down there with the red hat. He's disappearing as the sun sets behind Husky Stadium.
He's too tall to disappear. That red hat stands above everyone. There he is.
There he is, Doug Johnson.
There they go, Doug. No reflection in those glasses. You're looking good.
A Kent State graduate. Standing with all his friends down there. Nobody by it. Here's Patterson scrambling out of here. He's, hit hard at the 44. Oh, man. What a shot. Mike Darrow and Dante Robinson, backup linebackers, over to make the stop.
You know, Gary, one of the great things that's happened for this Husky football team as this game starts winding down, 2:05 in it, is that they've really stayed injury-free. There was a survey taken by the NCAA, and they say that on average, most of the teams get from 18, 19 injuries a year to starters to have them out of the ball game. Well, this Washington Husky team has only had 5 of those injuries.
Isn't it interesting? And I asked Don, what's different? He says, I have no idea. He says, seems like they come in bunches sometimes. They haven't had it this year. Well, I'll tell you one thing. There's a ball coming loose, but I think it's been blown dead. Paul Carr. I'll tell you one thing. They're a team, though, that has so much depth that I think they rest their people a lot.
Well, as we said earlier, you know, there's only been 2 games, the USC game and the Cal game, where the starting 22 with the exception of the USC-Cal game, with the starting 22 didn't play the entire ball game.
Well, they're getting ready now to have a nice turkey day and then get ready to go to Pasadena. First down. Patterson comes out, winging to the near side and overthrown. Bobo to the near side. And so that'll give us an opportunity to announce our Chevrolet most valuable players of the game. Drew Bledsoe for Washington State. Mario Bailey for Washington. And Chevrolet will donate $1,000 to each school's general scholarship fund to reward outstanding students for their academic achievements and to assist those in financial need. As chosen by our illustrious producer Jim Russler and our director Bill Webb. I understand they put all the data in the computer and that's what it kicked out.
Yeah, well, we let them choose today. We've been doing it throughout the year, but I think they made a good choice.
Bledsoe at 295 yards passing, 18 of 36. Madison, who's replaced him, comes out, completes the ball to Williams. The ball comes loose, and Washington has recovered. So with 1:07, the Huskies will get a last crack at it here. Was Patterson able to connect with his tight end, and all of a sudden the ball came out of there. Darrow was the guy that recovered it. Mike Darrow out of Federal Way, Washington, a redshirt freshman. So with 1:07 to go, 56-21, Washington to win this one. And the Apple Cup had a new record set today for total points scored. And Eric Bjornsson, a redshirt freshman out of the Oakland area, is the quarterback, the third quarterback to play for the Huskies.
Boy, isn't he a treat.
6'5". Pitch comes to the near side, and here's Kaufman. I wanted to see him. Watch this guy. Boy, he was one of the most heavily recruited players in the country. And the 170-pound freshman is so quick. I asked Don James about him. He said, what's the story on him? He says, great quickness. He says, you can't hit what you can't see. In other words, he's a blur.
Yeah, and these Cougars better be on top of it, because if he gets an opening, believe me, he'll try and take it all the way down to the end zone.
That was an 8-yard gain. Life Johnson is the fullback. Here is Kaufman again. And it looks like he got the first down. Very close to it. There he is. When he came in and they watched him in some drills, they saw him make a lateral move, and all the coaches' mouths dropped wide open. Began to realize the tremendous potential of Kaufman. A little celebrating going on. Pitch now coming to Huckleton.
First time in history, the Huskies have gone 11-0.
Yep, 11-0. They'll be ranked number 2. They're headed to Pasadena to meet the Wolverines of Michigan. And what a classic that should be. 892 yards in total offense. And Don James' team remains unbeaten as they defeat Washington State 56-21. We'll be back to wrap it up here from Husky Stadium when we return in Seattle in just a moment.